Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are live, and dear God, we got a ton to talk about. Okay, we have Gabriel Davis, we have Cam Akers, surprising the hell out of me. I don't know where y'all want to start. I'm just going to throw it over you. Let me set a couple things up with the live stream right now. Obviously, there is a ton to get into. I had a lot of fun watching the game. I was hoping that we are going to have a closer game overall. I mean, we get what we get. Looks like the Buffalo Bills are just going to be as dominant as everyone thought they were. This was my prediction to be the Super Bowl this season. I thought we were going to get Buffalo and Los Angeles, but based on the Los Angeles performance, based on Allen Robinson looking like he is nothing, we probably have to go through and we probably have to adjust the Super Bowl prediction. If this is what they are getting out of Allen Robinson, and we talked about the red flags with Allen Robinson. We talked about the fact that off the top of my head, I believe 1.3 yards per route run literally got smoked by Darnell Mooney with any metric you look at. I was willing to say, yeah, he looks like a bad wide receiver to me, but Sean McVay knows more about football than I do. So we were like, okay, well, he has an ADP of wide receiver 18. We'll rank him at like wide receiver 24. Now, that's not to say I'm smart, because at the same time, over the past month, I have been loading up on 5th, 6th round Cam Akers. I have gone through and drafted way too much Akers. Let me pull up the box score. Is that the only thing we can do at this point? I don't even know what we can say. It's not like, oh, okay, well, he's working his way back from the torn Achilles. No, he's going to be fine. Just wait until he breaks out at the end of it. No, we can't say that. Oh, guys. I want to look up the box score to officially get the final result of what we just had. Also, I will say, it was nice to see 8 receptions, 122 receiving yards, and the touchdown for Stephon Diggs. But with Cam Akers here, 3 carries for a total of 0 yards. Now, I didn't draft a lot of Akers at the beginning of the offseason. He had an ADP where he was going in the 3rd. Let me pull up what our final exposures ended up being of Cam Akers, how many drafts I drafted him in, because over the past month, I drafted a lot of Akers. Like, we definitely ended up above consensus on Akers, and it's looking like we are just going to get smoked with that bet. Okay, so Underdog just moved where all the best ball lines are. Okay, let's swing this around. Let's hit our exposures for NFL 2022 season. Do y'all want to take a guess on the percentage of drafts that I've Cam Akers in? Go to the live chat right now. We'll go through all my exposure for these Buffalo guys until we get some questions coming in here. Cam Akers, 11.1% of drafts. 11.1% Cam Akers. RIP us. Allen Robinson, we have in 3.5%. That's looking pretty good. Cooper Kupp, we have in 12%. Love that. Diggs, we have into 14%. Love that. But one thing, I tweeted this out right after he caught that touchdown. Gabriel Davis may just bury me this year. I only drafted Gabriel Davis in 2% of leagues. He had an ADP on Underdog like at the beginning of the 4th round. I wasn't even drafting him when he was going at the end of the 4th. Looks like it's a horrendous call on my part. We talked about him having that elite level ceiling. If he could maintain the efficiency that we saw when he got the opportunity and he could expand into the Emmanuel Sanders role with the same efficiency, he had a massive ceiling. But at the same time, I wasn't willing to bet that it was just a guarantee that that was going to happen. Looks like that is horrible on my part. How much staff? We had 6.7% Stafford. Allen, we have 8.8%. So it looks like we are ahead of consensus on Kupp, Diggs, Akers. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Below consensus on Gabriel Davis, Allen Robinson, and let me see what we had. Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson, we have 8%, so we're just average on Darrell. Oh my gosh. This may be tough. Oh, we have the chef coming out with our first question. Says, year 2 fan here. Trade my Antonio Gibson for A.J. Brown. Hell yes. Go through. Trade Antonio Gibson for A.J. Brown. We're making that deal any day of the week. And let me see. Is there anything else we need to talk about regarding this game? Let's pull up what we had. Yeah, so Josh Allen, of course, 4 touchdowns, 1 running in. I mean, we can talk about the Buffalo Bills running backs because I also had drafted James Cook. I mean, I was fading Devin Singletary because I was looking at Singletary saying, okay, well, he's not a great pass catcher. So if he's not a great pass catcher, what do you need to be successful in fantasy football? You need to have touchdown upside, but we know Josh Allen's vulturing rushing touchdowns. So it's like, oh, Devin Singletary's gross. James Cook can catch. Let's go with James Cook. James Cook gets 1 carry, and with his first carry, he goes through and fumbles the ball. Now, outside of that, looks like, yeah, Devin Singletary's not providing any value here. Like, Devin Singletary had about the best role you could ask for. James Cook was completely removed from the offense. Devin Singletary had a couple of receptions. He had 2 receptions, 14 receiving yards, 8 carries, 48 rushing yards. So yeah, Devin Singletary had a large role. I mean, he was definitely the running back 1 here in Buffalo, but it just simply didn't matter because the high value touches weren't there. But Riz coming out says traded Zeke and Mike Williams for David Montgomery and Courtland Sutton. Did I win? I would say Sutton and Mike Williams are about the same. I probably prefer I prefer Ezekiel Elliott over David Montgomery. So honestly, I don't really love that trade. Yeah. So I know, looks like you could make the argument, well, Devin Singletary is the starting running back in Buffalo, but the Buffalo Bills just put up 31 points. And I believe Devin Singletary, if my napkin math is correct here, put up a whopping 7. He put up a whopping 7 fantasy points. So we're not too worried about that. Yeah, everybody out here saying sell Allen Robinson. What I just don't understand, and y'all know I was fading Allen Robinson until like we had reports coming out of training camp saying, oh, okay, no, Allen Robinson looks great. And I got a little cold feet. I was a little bit worried about continuing to go through and say, oh no, Allen Robinson's a bum. We only have him in 3.5% of fantasy drafts. So it's not like we completely faded him. But Sean McVay went out of his way to get rid of Robert Woods for literally nothing. Nothing. Just dumped him to Tennessee so he could have the contracts off the books. To pay Allen Robinson, I believe it was $30 million guaranteed. Let me pull this up. So every time we talk about Allen Robinson, I've said, I don't like him, but Sean McVay knows more than I do. Yeah, $30 million guaranteed. That is crazy. And one thing, as someone who has, what did we say, 11% Cam Akers? Yeah, 11.1% Cam Akers. I have to admit this as well. So I have not only been drafting Akers, not only did Akers only come away with 3 carries, but those 3 carries that he had, he looked bad. Like, I can't come out here and say, oh no, Akers is fine. He just needs the work. No, he looked bad. Literally looked like he was just getting the ball and then he was walking towards the line of scrimmage. Of course, I'm no professional NFL scout by any means, but dear God. Jack coming out says, traded Allen Robinson and Ezekiel Elliott for Dalvin Cook and Allen Lazard. Obviously, that's looking great. I mean, I'm not even a Lazard guy, and I think that makes so much sense. And Zanzan Parptart's coming out. Long time no see, my friend. Says, traded Barkley and Adam Thielen for CMC. Great deal. I mean, at this time of the year, this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to make these 2-for-1 trades where we're able to open up the roster spot down at the very end of our bench. That way we can go through and look to make some waiver wire moves at the very beginning of the season because we will have intriguing pickups after week 1 that we want to go out there and grab. Maybe if you're playing in like a super shallow redraft league, I mean, it would have to be incredibly shallow, 8 or 10 teams. Maybe you even have someone like a Darrell Henderson sitting out there on the waiver wire. Darrell Henderson coming away with, I mean, not a fantastic day from a fantasy football standpoint, but I mean, 5 receptions, 26 receiving yards, 47 rushing yards as well. Obviously, gets pretty much every single carry out of this backfield. But it's Hunter coming out and says, should I trade Jalen Hurts and Kenyon Drake for Michael Pittman? Yeah, I mean, oh no, if this is Drake London, I would be a little bit more nervous about it. Still probably looking to do it. Like I said, every deal we're looking at this time of the year, like once we get closer to bye weeks, it's going to be a little bit different. But at this time of the year in shallow redraft formats, it's all about just getting the best player in the trade. I'm fine going and getting Pittman. Dylan says, hey, Mason Ive, Robinson, should I be worried or do you think it was just a bad game? I think you should be worried, my friend. Like, what the official mark was 1 target. Allen Robinson, 1 reception, 12 receiving yards. Kupp, 13 receptions, 128 receiving yards. I don't think it's just a bad game. He had 1.3 yards per route run last year. He had a horrendous year last year. I think you should be very worried. The issue is you can't sell him. Every single person who has a fantasy football team watch this game. And after watching this game, not a single one of those people are like, oh yeah, Allen Robinson, I want to go buy him low. Like, let me know in the live chat right now if you were one of those sickos wanting to buy Allen Robinson low. I'd imagine they don't exist. Now, MCF says Browns, Dolphins, or Chargers this week. Okay, so you have the Browns against Carolina. You have the Dolphins going up against New England and the Chargers going up against Las Vegas. We're taking the Carolina matchup, especially if that game looks to be a little nasty with the weather. We're going to play the Browns defense. Okay. So after this, let's go through. And Paul says, super late, but rate my starting lineup. We drafted today, and it's Josh Allen, Joe Mixon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams, Darren Waller, Jerry Jeudy, the New Orleans Saints defense. Okay, don't care about your kicker. I mean, obviously, when you're sitting with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs after today, you're feeling pretty damn good about it. I think it's a very strong team, my friend. I mean, you have a couple running backs with upside with Joe Mixon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have a wide receiver with upside here, Mike Williams. I'd be interested in seeing what we could possibly get, but no, great team. And the chef coming out says, Penny, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Cooks, Michael Pittman. We got to start 2 here. I think if it's a full PPR format, you go ahead, you start Michael Pittman and Brandon Cooks. If it's a non-PPR, maybe you talk yourself into Rashad Penny. And then we have AJ Lancaster says, matchup in my biggest league had Akers and Allen Robinson. If they put Akers and Allen Robinson in their starting lineup, RIP. I mean, y'all know I've been drafting Akers over the past month in the 5th round. I'm not going to hide around. I'm not going to hide away from that. I can't. I mean, I'm an idiot. Everybody knows it at this point. But we were at least smart enough to say you can't play Akers until we actually see him on the field and actually is a productive running back. RIP if you, I mean, for your opponent that started Akers and A-Rob. Congrats, my friend. Slim74 says, what up, Mason? We all live in Allentown, baby. Took Diggs over Akers. Okay, well, that's not the best to take the Diggs and Akers overs. At least, hopefully you have Josh Allen. I'm assuming you're an Allen fan if you're saying we're living in Allentown. Now, Constantine coming out says, Higbee with 11 targets. Did I miss this? What game was I watching? Did Tyler Higbee really come away with 11 targets? I mean, if we go back to 2019, Tyler Higbee was straight up dominant at the end of the year. Like, Tyler Higbee at the end of 2019 was comparable to what we actually had with Travis Kelce that season. Over the last 6 weeks, he was one of the most polarizing players in fantasy football going into 2020. Okay, let's see if we can go through and pull this up. Okay, Rams. Higbee with 11 targets. I did not even see that. What game was I watching to not realize that Tyler Higbee had double-digit targets? I mean, clearly he didn't do much with them, but you have to be so excited about that because if you go through and you look at the splits with Tyler Higbee with and without Robert Woods, it's a night and day difference. That's very exciting. Now, Gerald coming out says, need a running back too. What do you think I can get for Hunter Renfrow? I mean, straight up for Hunter Renfrow, I don't think it's going to be that exciting of an option. I mean, right now, if we're going over to Underdog, like Hunter Renfrow is being drafted a couple of rounds before Miles Sanders. Like if we go through, trade him for like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, Tony Pollard, that would be intriguing. Now, Dylan says trade James Robinson for Cam Akers. I may do it. And I know maybe I'm a sicko for this. Obviously, after watching this game, you don't want to. Please spam the chat right now. Would you rather have James Robinson or Cam Akers in fantasy football? After today, would you rather have James Robinson or Cam Akers? I'm thinking Akers. It looks like the majority of people in the chat are saying, I mean, it looks like it's kind of split half and half. A lot of people saying neither. But I mean, if you have to pick one, guys, if you have to pick one, I think I go Akers because both of them look like they are pseudo committee backup running backs at this point. Let's just take the player in a better offense. Let's take the player in the better offense. Obviously, it's not looking good right now. And Greg coming out says, who should I sit between Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and Adam Thielen? I know Jerry Jeudy has a great I know Elijah Moore has a great matchup going up against Baltimore. If you look at the Baltimore defense and how many points they gave up to wide receiver at the end of last year, everybody's going to tell you to play Elijah Moore. Also, the splits without Zach Wilson have been better for Elijah Moore. I'm very concerned about this New York Jets offense. I want to be fading it where I can. I would rather go ahead and target Jerry Jeudy in Denver. I'd rather have Adam Thielen in Minnesota this week, especially going up against Green Bay, what I expect to be a high-scoring contest. Dylan says, yeah, it looked like he was there to open up Cutmore. In terms of Allen Robinson, I don't even know if he was doing that. Like, I don't even know if we can use like the, Allen Robinson was a decoy narrative if Allen Robinson was out there drawing 2 targets. But Slim74 says Diggs, a wide receiver 1. Good for those who drafted him in the late second, early third. Yeah, wanted no part of Allen Robinson. Let's go, Flog. You know, Diggs, obviously, like on Underdog, we were having to draft him a lot earlier just because you had to get your wide receivers early in that format. But yeah, great for everybody who drafted Diggs. What's the final target breakdown between Gabriel Davis? Y'all know I did not get a lot of Gabriel Davis. I may be toast here. I mean, if we're looking at this, there were 31 pass attempts in Buffalo today. 5 of them went to Gabriel Davis. Now, maybe I'm grasping at straws because I barely drafted Gabriel Davis at all. Like, it looks like I may be losing money if Gabriel Davis comes out here and does this regularly. But Gabriel Davis, 5 targets. Stephon Diggs, 9. Stephon Diggs almost got to a 30% team target share. He actually maybe it was there. Let me divide 9 by 31 real quick. Yeah, 29% team target share. I figured he wasn't there, but I think you should be very excited about Stephon Diggs. I think we could even get bigger games from Diggs down the road. Okay, but now let's go through. And Rawl says, sell Dameon Pierce high to the Cam Akers owner. Okay, I've been on board. Like, if you would have asked me literally last night on the live stream when we were watching people take Dameon Pierce over Cam Akers, I would have said, give me Cam Akers. Give me the starting running back for the significantly better offense in Los Angeles. I would have said that last night. But I'm the first person to admit I'm an idiot. I am wrong all the time. After today, when Cam Akers is clearly the backup in Los Angeles, or at least was today, there is no way we can go ahead and move him off. We cannot move Dameon Pierce for Cam Akers. So we cannot do that at this point. I mean, it's not like Cam Akers just didn't get the work. When he was on the field, he didn't look good either. Like, Henderson looked like the better running back on a per touch basis as well. Now, ETN says traded Akers, Allen Robinson, and Cook for God himself. Okay, I mean, if you have Cam Akers, Allen Robinson, and James Cook on your team, I'm very sorry to hear that, my friend. Very sorry to hear that. Slim74 says Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver 1. That's the one to believe, baby. I mean, here with Jerry Jeudy, very possible that he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Denver. I don't know if on this Underdog little player prop screen here, of course, y'all can go check out all these prop bets on Underdog. You can find the link in the live chat. Find it in the description. I don't know if it's scrolled by the Denver lines yet for Monday, but Underdog currently has the receiving yardage prop identical between Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Now, okay, coming out says, okay, Dab says, hit on Gabriel Davis. Good luck to your Longhorns this Saturday. Love the show. Thank you, my friend. Congrats on hitting on Gabriel Davis. I will say I'm rooting against you rest of the year because I'm trying to save my own bank account. But Texas Longhorns, we're going to need that luck on Saturday. We're probably going to get smoked. We're about to be the Los Angeles Rams going up against Alabama, the Buffalo Bills. It is what it is, though. And Slim74 says, yeah, Higbee going to get targeted. No other receivers. If this is how bad Allen Robinson is, you're damn right. Tyler Higbee is going to be seeing a lot of targets here. And then Nick says, traded A.J. Dillon and Hill for Joe Mixon. So win or a loss. Maybe this is like an 8-team league where when you have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, if it's that shallow, then sure. But based on the hype that we have centering around A.J. Dillon right now, to be honest with you, I think you probably could have gotten more. I think you could have gotten more. Rick says Jefferson, Lamb, Sutton, Waddle, Bateman, Michael Thomas in a 10 TPPR format. Only Saquon Barkley, Edmonds, and Pierce for notable running backs. How much are you giving up for a running back upgrade? I mean, right now you have Saquon Barkley, who could very easily be a top 5 running back this year. Not guaranteed, but it's a possibility. We're looking like we have Chase Edmonds or Dameon Pierce breaking out to be the starting running back in their respective offenses. Chase Edmonds, in this instance, in a PPR format, has the receiving upside as well. So to be honest with you, I would rather kind of see what we have week 1. Now, if we were to make a trade, actually, ignore me. We have Jefferson, Lamb, Sutton, Waddle, and Bateman, and Michael Thomas. We're trying to trade Rashad Bateman and Dameon Pierce. If we could go out there, if we can get a very exciting running back, someone that was in tier 2, tier 3, go get an Aaron Jones, go get a DeAndre Swift. Of course, that's going to be a no-brainer. Maybe you have to drop it down a little bit to go to someone in that Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette tier, or Javonte Williams. One of those guys would be viable as well. Slim74 says, Diggs did this all on Ramsey. That's what I was thinking as well. I know we had a lot of people getting mad at me going into the week when I said that Diggs was going to be lining up against Ramsey. Everybody felt the need to tell me, oh no, Ramsey doesn't shadow one receiver. He's going to go up against. But seems like every time Diggs had a big play, it was on Ramsey. I'm going to be interested to see the tracking data after this game to see how many of Diggs' targets Ramsey was covering him in, because maybe, just maybe, for the sake of my bank account, we can use that as an excuse. And maybe that's why we had that Gabriel Davis spike week. And we can expect more of that for Stefon Diggs going forward. Now, MCF coming out says, pick 2 to start. We got Dillon, Hunt, Pierce, Breece Hall, and Drake London. Love the upside we have with Breece Hall, Drake London later on in the year. We're not starting them week 1, though. We got to see what we have with these rookies. Very similar. I like the upside of Cam Akers. You couldn't start them week 1. These players that we haven't seen production from in years, or these guys that we've never seen in the NFL. We don't know what their roles are going to be. No reason to start them. Let's go ahead. I'm going to start A.J. Dillon. Well, we'll start Dameon Pierce, though. We'll start Dameon Pierce over Kareem Hunt, because with Dameon Pierce, I mean, he is the starting running back on his team. I don't think we necessarily need to see it in that instance. Whereas with Breece Hall, we don't know what the workload's going to look like between him and Michael Carter early on. Okay. So real quick, we are about to pass 700 likes on the live stream. Y'all are absolutely crazy. Thank you so much for everybody going down there, dropping a like on the stream. If you have not already, subscribe to the channel. We stream every single night. I've live streamed every single night for like the past 100 days. I'm going to be doing this every single night during the season as well. So subscribe and make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you don't want to miss our live streams going forward. And if you want to check out any of these player props on the side, of course, you can find that link in the description. Find it in the live chat. That's Underdog Fantasy. They have all their player props there for the week. They also have weekly drafts as well. But now let's go over to our next question coming out from Caden. Says, 12-team half PPR league, double flex. We have Mahomes at quarterback. At running back, we have Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, RIP, Brian Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Kadarius Toney, DeAndre Hopkins, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Tolbert, Kelsey, trade ideas. I mean, right now, if we're going to be looking at like having that Mahomes Kelsey stack and just loading up on running back and wide receiver depth after that, not wasting roster spots on backup quarterbacks and tight ends, I think you're sitting pretty, my man. I will say you are going to be in a world of pain at the beginning part of the year. When we are loaded up with this many rookies, then yeah, maybe we're excited about the upside later on with guys like Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Brian Robinson, with Drake London, Darnell Mooney, DeAndre Hopkins. Good luck fielding a starting lineup that you're going to feel confident with over the first few weeks. But obviously, once we have a couple of these rookies breaking out, you're going to be in a great spot. Sam says, is Allen Robinson washed? Look bad. So bad. Yeah, we talked about this a lot. And I'm not trying to act like we're smart here. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I was avoiding Gabriel Davis in the 4th round. Clearly, if Gabriel Davis does this every week, he was a fantastic value in the 4th round, and I will be losing money. But someone else we were avoiding in the 4th round was Allen Robinson. Let me pull up our draft guide here so I can look at the exact numbers. I believe it was 1.3 yards per route run. He was outscored by guys like Khalif Raymond last year. No, pulling this up, I apologize. We were wrong. Allen Robinson did not have 1.3 yards per route run last year. It was 1.2. If you don't know much about yards per route run, I cannot put it into context how bad that is. How straight up bad that is from Allen Robinson here. I understand he got the best quarterback he's ever had in his entire NFL career, but wide receivers to outscore Allen Robinson on a points per game basis last season, T.Y. Hilton, Braxton Berrios, Danny Amendola, and Khalif Raymond. So that's why I'm not willing to say, oh, it's just a bad game from Allen Robinson. Buy low on him. This is a continued trend of what we had last year. I think we possibly should be a little bit worried here. But now let's go over to our next question. And this one's coming out from Dylan. Says, should I get Henderson off waivers for James Cook? Hell yes. I mean, I was going out there drafting James Cook because I was like, this is going to be an elite level Buffalo Bills offense. He can catch passes out of the backfield. Yeah, I'll happily take that. But now if we're looking at this being a 3-man committee here in Buffalo, if we're looking at this as a situation where James Cook is fumbling his first carry and then not seeing another touch the rest of the game, safe to cut him, safe to pick up the starting running back for the Los Angeles Rams in Darrell Henderson here. Zach says, will Cooper Kupp finish as a top 5 wide receiver? Cooper Kupp, we moved him back to our wide receiver 1 overall spot over the past few weeks because we were a little less worried about the Matthew Stafford elbow injury. So yes, I think Cooper Kupp's not only going to be a top 5 receiver, I think he's going to be a top 3 guy. Now, Raphael says, should I trade Rashad Bateman and Williams? I'm going to assume this is Javonte. For Michael Pittman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no, I don't think you do it. I think you keep the best player in the deal, assuming this is Javonte Williams. If this is like Jameson Williams, then yeah, we make it. But based on the structure of the trade, I'd imagine it's Javonte. Now, Peyton says, who should I start at the flex, Devonta Smith or Drake London? We're going Smith. As I said previously, regarding these rookies, there's no reason to risk it. Like, you're not necessarily going to get extra points for being the guy who not only drafted the rookie breakout, but starting him the week he broke out. I love rostering those rookies that have the elite level ceilings like Drake London, but at the same time, we are rostering them for their end of season upside. So let's not play him. Let's go Devonta Smith. Good matchup against the Detroit Lions here. Tyler says, what should I look to do with Dawson Knox after this game? So with Dawson Knox, let me pull up the exact line that he had. I should have just kept this open. I mean, I just want to make sure that we're looking at the target number being what we thought it was going to. I am very worried regarding the usage of both Jamison Crowder and Isaiah McKenzie. Because if we're going back to what you were looking at with Dawson Knox, this is a tight end that we talked about avoiding all offseason because if you looked at the yards per route run, if you looked at the target share, every year of his NFL career has been the exact same. From an advanced metric standpoint, every year has been the same. The only difference from what we had last year and early on in his NFL career were the touchdowns. The touchdown rate spiked, similar to what we saw with Robert Tonyan in 2020. So we were calling him this year's Robert Tonyan, this year's guy to avoid when he's going to come back down to earth. Dawson Knox, yeah, 2 targets. I mean, I saw him on the field a ton. He was out there. But the issue is, if both Isaiah McKenzie and Jamison Crowder are going to get involved, and they're not just going to use 1 slot receiver, but 2, I think you should be very worried about Dawson Knox. With Knox, you're strictly betting on touchdowns. That's a very hard bet to make when we know touchdowns are the most volatile statistic in fantasy football. Okay, so now let's go and look at our next question. This one coming out from Raw LTV says, guys, rate my squad. It's a 12-team half PPR. We're at quarterback. We have Derek Carr. Running back, we have Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson. At wide receiver, we have Jalen Waddle, Elijah Moore, Chris Godwin, Treylon Burks, Romeo Doubs, and Mark Andrews. Thank God we have the elite level tight end here with Mark Andrews. Obviously, that elite level tight end giving you a significant edge in a shallow redraft format. I'm very worried about Derek Carr from a fantasy football standpoint in these shallow redraft leagues this year. If this is a 4-point passing touchdown league, it's going to be very difficult for Derek Carr to go out there and be a league-winning player at the quarterback position. He's going to be fantastic for the Raiders. I think the Raiders are going to have a great season this year and surprise a lot of people with Davante Adams coming in. But at the same time, with absolutely no rushing upside whatsoever, you are going to get a severely capped ceiling for Derek Carr, where last year, Derek Carr was the top 5 quarterback in the NFL in passing yards. Off the top of my head, I believe it was only behind Stafford, Burrow, Mahomes, Brady. Or no, I don't think it was Burrow. I think it was actually Herbert. But anyway, only behind truly elite level quarterbacks. And he still wasn't a top 10 option at the quarterback position on a points per game basis, because at this point, rushing means so much at the quarterback position. So if you have a Derek Carr, I mean, while I love him from a real life perspective, I think if we could go through and package him together with Elijah Moore and go and trade him for someone that does have that rushing upside, like a Kyler Murray, a Jalen Hurts, or a Trey Lance, I think that would be very advantageous. If you're playing in a league that gives you 6 points per pass and touchdown, you actually may be fine in that format though. Now, Ray Gunn coming out says, in a 12-team full PPR league, should I look to start Adam Thielen or Rashad Bateman at the flex spot? Going back to what I was discussing previously, with Bateman, a ton of upside here. But at the same time, even though we love the upside for later on in the year, when we have not seen Bateman be productive at the NFL level yet, we're not getting extra points for being the first guy to start Rashad Bateman right before his breakout. I rather would go ahead and take Adam Thielen in what should be a very high-scoring game against the Green Bay Packers, where we've already seen the production before. We already know what to expect with the target share in his offense. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Adam Thielen over Rashad Bateman. But at the same time, I think you could make the argument you'd rather have Bateman rest of season. Week 1, though, there's no reason to play him. Now, let's go ahead. And Leo Cool says, pick 3 to start between Godwin, Dillon, Elijah Mitchell, and Rashad Bateman. We're playing Dillon. We're playing Mitchell. I mean, very similar here with Godwin. Coming off the torn ACL, I wish we could see him on the field for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before we decided to go out there and before we decided to jam him in. Obviously, it's a great matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm sorry, against the Dallas Cowboys. Godwin's on the Bucks. Now, between these two guys, I'd start Rashad Bateman. I'd start Bateman over Godwin. Godwin's like 7 months removed from a torn ACL. I mean, I've been preaching to draft Godwin specifically a couple months ago. I mean, I was the loudest advocate to go out there and draft Chris Godwin for the upside he has later on in the year in an elite level offense when he's an elite level receiver. But week 1, come on, let's see him on the field before we go through and put him in our starting lineup. And we are about to pass 1,000 likes in the live stream. Thank you all so much for everybody going down there, showing that support. If you have not done so already, drop that like if you want to be our 1,000th like on the live stream. I truly do appreciate it. Now, our next question coming out from Carl says, PPR, we're going to go Austin Hooper, Noah Fant, or Robert Tonyan. I'm going to go Robert Tonyan. I mean, going back to what we were saying, I view Robert Tonyan and Dawson Knox in a very similar light, where these are 2 tight ends playing in offenses that should have a lot of overall touchdowns, but we don't necessarily know what the target share is going to be like. However, I'm actually a little more excited about Robert Tonyan this year, way more excited than I was last year, because you have no Davante Adams in this offense. Davante Adams had a 29% team target share in Green Bay over the past 3 seasons. So there's so much volume up for grabs in Green Bay. Obviously, he's working his way back from the injury. I believe he practiced in full today. So definitely make sure we're monitoring the injury report with what we had with Robert Tonyan on Thursday, coming off a severe injury in his own right. But I expect this to be a high-scoring contest. We are not sure if Allen Lazard's going to be 100% good to go by Sunday. So I think Robert Tonyan's a good player to throw in. Slim74 says, would you take a chance on Alec Pierce on Sunday? I think he's going to go off. McKenzie scored, but I won't be starting him at wide receiver 3 again. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have enough targets to start at wide receiver 3. I kind of agree with you on that. And going back to what we were saying with these other rookies, I don't want to start rookies this week, especially someone like Alec Pierce, who profiles to maybe be a good NFL receiver and how he can stretch NFL defenses with the speed he'll give on the outside, but he's not necessarily going to be a target hog based on his profile. I don't want to put that guy in the starting lineup, especially not week 1. So no, don't take a chance on Alec Pierce. The Colts are going to roll the Texans here, where they're going to be able to give Jonathan Taylor 20 plus carries. Top 10 Central coming out says, I need a flex. Are we rolling with Jerry Jeudy or AJ Dillon? I think if it's a non-PPR format, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take AJ Dillon and the touchdown upside he'll have in Green Bay. If it's going to be a full PPR league, though, let's take the target volume we could potentially see with Jerry Jeudy here. Slim74 says, Bills should shop for Barkley. They need a running back bad. I mean, yeah, that's why they went out there and overdrafted James Cook. Obviously, they tried to sign J.D. McKissic this offseason. What would a Barkley trade even look like, though? Like, I just think maybe that's like a Madden deal. That would make a lot of sense. But from a real life perspective, that's never happening. Now, Pitcher Rendon coming out, longtime member of the Flock, says, Eckler, Mixon, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Brown, Higgins, Waddle, Hollywood, Bateman, Tony, Lamar, Hawkinson, and an 8-team league going for the three-peat, bro. Happy that you won it the past 2 years. I know you have been with us for a very long time. Happy to hear that, my friend. Obviously, you're a lead at running back here. I like that we're focusing on some upside down there on the bench with someone like J.K. Dobbins. If we could look to make a deal, like obviously we're going to love to trade some of this depth. And maybe that's Elijah Mitchell and TJ Hawkinson to get a top 3 tight end in an 8-team format where depth is going to be so easy to come by off the waiver wire, but still super strong roster. Sebastian coming out says, start Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, or Brandon Cooks in a half PPR format. I think that we're going to go ahead. We're probably just going to start Brandon Cooks here. I mean, it's going to be a very tough matchup for David Montgomery going up against San Francisco. I'm worried about the exact workload we are going to have with Josh Jacobs in Las Vegas. Also not a great matchup against an improved Los Angeles Chargers defense. And we know that the Chargers are probably going to be leading this game where the Rams are going to be forced to throw the ball. Now, we have Jake coming out, says, start one in a PPR league. Melvin Gordon, Nico Collins, Traylon Burks, James Robinson, Tyler Algier, or Joshua Palmer. Already have Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams. I don't really care about the rest of the starting lineup. I would go ahead. I'd start Melvin Gordon. Obviously, you're not expecting a lot with Melvin here. I mean, Javante's clearly the starting running back. But at the end of the day, this should be a game where I think the Denver Broncos handle business. I think that this is still a pseudo committee. And while I love the upside we get later on in the year with Traylon Burks, he has been dealing with an injury. We don't exactly know how many snaps he's going to be seeing week 1. James Robinson coming off his own torn Achilles. Maybe we get the Cam Akers treatment. Tyler Algier looks like he's the running back 3 on the depth chart right now in Atlanta. Joshua Palmer gives you spike week upside, but I'd probably go Melvin. Now, Ashton says, you doing an over-under or higher-lower on Underdog vid? Yeah, so we will get a video going through, and I'll be making these player props on the right. I know everybody watching this pretty much has an Underdog account. If you don't, you can find the link in the live chat, find in the description. You have access to all these player props. There are drafts in the season as well. Use promo code FLOCK. They're going to match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200. You'll get our 2022 rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. We will do a video. Not right now, though. I want to wait until probably Saturday. We'll get that video out. Moline still coming out, says, is Zach Moss worth picking up? No. I mean, Zach Moss is not a great pass catcher. James Cook's eventually going to get worked in here. And Josh Allen's going to vulture touchdowns at the goal line. Slim74 coming out again, says, pick up Sterling Shepard for the beginning of the season, Flock. Double-digit targets when he's healthy. Shepard coming off his own very serious injury. There's Wandale there. There's Kadarius Toney there. There's Saquon Barkley there. They like the rookie tight end. I don't expect Sterling Shepard to be someone that's that exciting. Man, hell of a throwback, though, obviously. Hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns. That's all I can say. OU sucks regarding Sterling Shepard. Now, Raphael says Mike Williams and Rashad Penny for Michael Pittman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Okay. Pittman, Mike Williams in a similar tier. I'm going to prefer Michael Pittman. I prefer Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Rashad Penny rest of season. Yeah, we're going to go through. We're going to take the Michael Pittman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire side over Mike Williams there. Now, Witt coming out says Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin, Saquon Barkley. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Mixon, Godwin, Pitts, or Barkley, Chase, Freiermuth. So you're getting a massive upgrade from Godwin to Chase. You're getting a lateral move from Mixon to Barkley. You're getting a massive downgrade from Pitts to Freiermuth. I hate to give you this answer. It's the worst answer I could ever give. It's up to you. I know that doesn't help anybody. I know that's a lazy answer, but let me know what y'all would want in the chat. Let Wick John know what you would want. His question is, would you rather have Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin, and Kyle Pitts, or Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Pat Freiermuth? Which side are you taking there? Now, Tyler says, thoughts on the team. We got Kyler Murray at quarterback. Running back, we have Eckler, Mixon. Wide receiver, we have DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. We have Dawson Knox at tight end, Courtland Sutton at the flex. Have Allen Robinson and Godwin on the bench. Should I look to drop Allen Robinson? Y'all know I'm not an Allen Robinson guy, but at the same time, there's no way in hell you can drop him. Like, there's definitely the upside there if this offense puts it together. Maybe the Buffalo Bills just did a great job scheming him out of this offense. I don't think that's what happened, but it's still in the range of outcomes. The worst thing you could do is go ahead and drop Allen Robinson, even though this is a very strong roster. Okay, Rosario coming out says, should we be selling Elijah Mitchell or keeping him? I'm selling Elijah Mitchell. I am worried about Trey Lance vulturing touchdowns at the goal line, but maybe he takes those rushing touchdowns from Deebo Samuel's total of 8 last year rather than Elijah Mitchell. Now, Ray Gunn coming out says, rate my team. It's a 12-team PPR format where we have Lance at quarterback. At running back, we have CMC, Leonard Fournette, Michael Carter, Nyheim Hines. Wide receiver, we have T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Adam Thielen, Rashad Bateman, Chase Claypool, TJ Hockenson at tight end. So we have the elite level quarterback. We have a respectable tight end. We have potentially 2 top 5 running backs here with CMC, Leonard Fournette. We have a lot of wide receiver upside with T. Higgins, Waddle, and Adam Thielen. Love the team. If we could trade like Bateman as our wide receiver 4 and Hockenson and go get an elite level tight end, go get a top 3 guy, or maybe even settle in for Kittle, knowing we could stack up with Lance, I think that would be very interesting. Now we have Mark coming out and says, what are your thoughts on George Pickens? With George Pickens, he was a very polarizing player coming into the NFL. He was a 5-star high school recruit going to Georgia, breaks out at 18 years old. 18 years old, he's the wide receiver 1 there. And having that true 18-year-old breakout season is very predictive going over to the NFL and finding success. Of course, we never see top-end dominance in Georgia due to the injury, but then he declares early for the NFL draft. He's a great athlete at the combine. He gets the draft capital by Pittsburgh. So we had an incomplete prospect profile of George Pickens, but there were a ton of positive signs that showed that he could be an elite level player. And obviously, when we're getting the buzz out of training camp, getting the plays in the preseason, I think you can get very excited about Pickens. It's just not the best situation there when we know that Deontay Johnson's going to be locked in to a ton of targets. Slim74 says, who is it, Davis or Drake? Okay, I'm losing you on this one, my man. I'm sorry. I'm losing you on this one. If you're asking Gabriel Davis or Drake London, obviously, I mean, we had Gabriel Davis ranked ahead of him before the season started, and that's not going anywhere. Now, Blake coming out says 2,000 and 2,600 people in the stream. Let's go, baby. Yeah, thank you so much for everybody coming out to the live stream. This may be the most people we've ever had out in the stream right now. If you have not done so, maybe we can break our record for likes on a Q&A live stream. I think we're closing in on 96,000 subscribers. There's a chance we had 100,000 before kickoff on Sunday as well. So if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in the live stream, subscribe to the channel. We do these live streams every single day. I am not going to take a single day off. We haven't taken a single day off over the 100 days at this point of getting you live streams every day. We'll do it for the next 100. We just did a 24-hour live stream. You can kind of hear it in my voice. So if you want this content, if you want to come out and hang out with us, not only subscribe, but make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you know when we're live. But now let's go out to our next one. I think this next question coming in from Booth, who says, start one in a PPR league. We got Edmonds, Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, or Rashad Penny. In a full PPR league, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Chase Edmonds with Rashad Penny back with his prospect profile coming out of San Diego State. He actually profiled to be a running back that did catch passes going to the NFL. I was so excited about him, but we've never seen him display the ability to catch the ball at the NFL level, or at least he didn't over the last 6 games of his dominance last season. So in a full PPR format, I'll take the starting running back in what I believe to be the better offense with the Miami Dolphins, and at the same time, the running back that can catch passes. Okay. Now, Booth coming out says, Raw coming out with our next question says, when you need an upset, do you go with the wide receiver or the running back in the flex? Choices are Dameon Pierce, Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, Travis Etienne. If we need an upset, wide receivers inherently in a PPR format are going to have a wider range of outcomes and an overall higher ceiling. But at the same time, I think based on what we just saw with Cam Akers with the running back coming off the torn Achilles, maybe we go ahead and maybe we just fire up Travis Etienne here. I think we probably go Etienne. It's either Etienne or Brandon Cooks. Now, Theon coming out says, trade Lamar Jackson for Patrick Mahomes in a 4-point passing touchdown league, 6-point rushing touchdown league. Thank you. I personally have them in the same tier. I think if you have one of the Kansas City Chiefs pass catchers in Juju Smith-Schuster, in Travis Kelce, we go ahead, we build in that correlation, make that one consolidated bet with this overall passing offense in Kansas City. But if not, let's take the quarterback that has the rushing upside in that 4-point passing touchdown league. Let's go with Lamar there. And now Slim74 says, another year of Allen Robinson stuck on teams' benches. Another year of Allen Robinson stuck on benches. I mean, we had Allen Robinson on a lot of benches last year. We drafted Allen Robinson in significantly more drafts last year than we did this year, which there's no way he has a worse season this year than he did last, but still. And Jordan coming out says, rate my team in a 12-team app PPR format. Where at quarterback, we're rocking with Trey Lance. Love it. At wide receiver, we have Michael Pittman, Gabriel Davis, Rashad Bateman. Okay, I probably would have given you crap about this wide receiver core before today, but I just have to sit here and I have to take my L on Gabriel Davis today. I'm taking my L. Great core. And then we have Hollywood Brown at the flex. I'd argue that Hollywood's playing over Bateman here, my friend. Running back, we have Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, A.J. Dillon. We have tight end Pat Freiermuth, bench James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Kadarius Toney, Ramondre Stevenson. I really like the team. The issue is, and let me know what y'all think in the live chat too. Here, let Smokey know. This question came out from Jordan. Let Jordan know what you think in the live chat. Do you cut James Cook after today? There were 3 running backs active. Obviously, he got punished for fumbling the ball. Obviously, he got benched for that. But even if he were not to get benched, when Zach Moss, Devin Singletary are both involved, it seems pretty difficult to go ahead and draw out the upside case for James Cook. Coming from someone who's drafted a lot of James Cook, okay? We've drafted a lot of Cook. I think if this is a super shallow format, if you like someone off the waiver wire after Sunday, maybe you're able to go ahead and move on from them. Obviously, if you're playing in a deeper league, ignore this. I'm just saying if you have someone that's very appealing, and right now we only had 4 players listed out on the bench: James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Ramondre Stevenson, Kadarius Toney. So I'm assuming this is a shallow format where maybe James Cook is a roster clogger at the beginning of the year. I think in general it's too early to drop though. But Smokey the Cat says, rate the team in a 12-team PPR format where we got Justin Herbert, so we have the elite level quarterback. At wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Godwin, Gallup, Renfro, Ayuk, Burks. Okay, thank God we have Kelce here. We have Zeke, Montgomery, Henderson, Hunt, Madison. Should I trade Herbert for Henry or Mixon? If you can trade Justin Herbert for Derrick Henry or Joe Mixon, you do that in a heartbeat. Unless this is a super flex league, but you didn't say it was. It looks like this is a 1-quarterback league. My friend, quarterbacks are more than replaceable. Go trade Justin Herbert, bring in Derrick Henry, stream the QB position, or try to trade for one at a lower price later on. Now, Cam coming out says Javonte and Keenan Allen or Joe Mixon and Mike Williams. Y'all know I am a Keenan Allen over Mike Williams guy, but here I definitely prefer Joe Mixon over Javonte. I'm going to go Mixon and Mike Williams over Keenan Allen and Javonte Williams. Okay. Bodie coming out says, I have Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, and Jalen Waddle start 3. Okay, so here, essentially, we just have to bench one of these guys. I hate to do this. I truly do. Y'all know Jalen Waddle's my guy. Like, one of the reasons I have not drafted Gabriel Davis in many drafts is because I've taken Jalen Waddle in the 4th instead of Gabriel Davis in like every single one of these. But at the same time, he's coming off the quad. He hasn't been practicing in a while. Not a great matchup against New England. I think we bench him this week, but he is our guy going forward. Ethan says, yours for Cam Akers. We trusted you, Mace. But guys, like I said, I mean, over the past month when Akers has been a 5th, 6th round selection, I've drafted a lot of Cam Akers. I drafted over 700 teams on Underdog this offseason, and I had 11.1% Cam Akers. I feel your pain. Trust me, I'm there with you. I have 11.1% Akers across 700 something teams. And I can't sit here and say, oh no, he's a good running back. He just needs his opportunity. With the very few touches he actually had, he looked horrible. Obviously, it's such a small sample, and he got hit behind the line of scrimmage a couple times. But there's just no reason to be excited about him at this point. Okay. Now, Armac coming out says, Cup and Davis did me all right today. Congrats. Says, she's Stafford had a bad day. Do you think Davis could step up and be an outright number 2 wide receiver for the Bills? I mean, yeah, right now he is clearly the number 2 wide receiver for the Bills. What I will say is I don't think he's going to have as good of a day here going forward. Now, of course, I'm a little bit biased. I have not drafted a lot of Gabriel Davis. I preferred other guys in that range like Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy. He has the ceiling. He had 5 targets today. He did great off 5 targets. Diggs had 9. You had both Jamison Crowder and Isaiah McKenzie involved. Like, I kind of want to put Gabriel Davis on a sell high video, but I just know we may end up getting burned if we do that. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Reckless Ruin, who says, Eckler, Zeke, Miles Sanders, Nyheim Hines at running back. At wide receiver, we have Lamb, Mike Evans, Jerry Jeudy, Bateman, Devonta Smith, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Treylon Burks. Okay, so we have Dak here. Having Dak makes a lot of sense on a build where we have Ezekiel Elliott and Cam Akers going all in on that Dallas Cowboys offense. If they are the number 1 team in the NFL in points scored again this year, you probably are crushing the field. But beyond that, we have Trey Lance and Pitts as well. Okay, this seems much, much better with Pitts. I think really the only thing that we can look to say is once we get Lance starting, once your league mates realize how many points Lance is going to put up based on just his ability to run the football, then we're going to go ahead. We are going to look to trade Trey Lance with one of these running backs, like trade Trey Lance and Miles Sanders in a package to get an upgrade on RB. That way, maybe even throw a wide receiver into the deal, especially in a 10-team shallow redraft league, because we don't want to be rostering multiple quarterbacks going into the season. Now, Bryson says Renfrow, London, or Chase Claypool. I'm not a massive Renfrow guy, but I'll say we're starting him. I mean, going into the year, week 1, you start Hunter Renfrow over Drake London. I would rather have Drake London the rest of season for the upside that I think that he has with the overall prospect profile he had coming out of USC. But we're not starting any of these rookies week 1. If we have not seen you produce at the NFL level, I do not want to start you week 1. Now, Jalopy Sausage says, press that like button, flock. Yes, if you have not listened to Jalopy Sausage, a long-time member of the flock, go down there, drop that like. We are closing in on 1,500 likes in the stream, closing in on 96,000 subs as well. Y'all are ridiculous. Slim74 says, no, Mike Davis or Kenyon Drake, the 4-week running back in Baltimore. Who gets the points? Dear God. Let me look something up real quick. Let me double check on this. If I was a betting man between these two guys, I'm taking Kenyon Drake. I don't know why you're saying that. You're going to get them for 4 weeks, though. I think Dobbins is coming in before then. I'm hoping Dobbins is coming in before then. If I had to make a bet between Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Drake. But of course, thank you so much, my friend. And Ormax says, get some tea and honey for your voice. I thought my voice would be back by now. Maybe it's because we do these live streams every single day. We haven't given it a chance to recover. But yeah, if you were new to the live stream, if I understand my voice sounds a little gross. Earlier this week, we did a 24-hour live stream where I drafted fantasy football teams for 24 hours. And yeah, we do these live streams every single night as well. So we haven't given our voice a chance to recover yet. But Mike says, start 2 at the flex in a full PPR league. We got Julio Jones, David Njoku, and D. Johnson. That's Deontay Johnson. We're starting Deontay Johnson, my friend. He's not even in the same class as these other guys. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to play Julio Jones over David Njoku as well. Just going to be in a significantly better offense and a significantly better game environment. Okay, so now. Okay. Vallegro coming out says, a full PPR, we're going to go Elijah Mitchell or Devonta Smith at the flex. I'm going to go ahead. I will play Elijah Mitchell. I'm not too worried about the usage that we have in San Francisco at this point. Okay, so now our next question going to be coming out from Daniel says, if Rondell is out, do we start AJ Green or Brandon Ayuk? This is an interesting question because Zach Ertz may be out as well. If you have no DeAndre Hopkins, no Zach Ertz, no Rondell Moore, AJ Green may be in a pretty good spot. How about this? And it's the grossest thing to ever say. I don't want to say it because obviously AJ Green's complete toast. I mean, we haven't seen him be an efficient wide receiver in almost 4 years. If Rondell Moore and Zach Ertz are out, you can start AJ Green. If either one of them play, obviously you have to go Brandon Ayuk. And honestly, it's probably a bad call for me to say that in general. You probably should go Brandon Ayuk no matter what. And Shayna says, Judy, Deontay Johnson, Cook, Bateman, or Renfro, thanks. Okay, what Cook is this? Am I blanking here? What Cook is there outside of Dalvin Cook, James Cook? Can someone please let me know in the live chat right now? I mean, between these other options, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Deontay Johnson out of these guys. I mean, I think that Pittsburgh does have to throw the ball here against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know if we're missing a Cook. If it's Dalvin Cook, obviously we're playing Dalvin Cook. If it's James Cook. Oh, Brandon Cooks. Okay, you meant Cooks, not Cook. Threw me off a little bit. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson over Brandon Cooks. Yeah. No, thank you, chat. Thank you for filling me in on that. And also, I'm sorry if you donated. I promise you I get to every single donation question. I am right now about 10 minutes back on questions, though. Actually, maybe a little bit less than that, about 9 minutes back. So if you donated like 5 minutes ago, I promise you I'm going to get to your question. Just give me a second to catch up on these. I'm sorry about that, guys. And Brian says, start Gage, Claypool, Chark, Parker as our wide receiver 3. We're currently sitting with Lamb as a starter already. Okay, so if we are looking at no Chris Godwin in this offense and a great matchup against the Dallas Cowboys where there should be a lot of points scored, we're going to go ahead. We're going to play Russell Gage over these other options. Now, if Godwin plays, if Julio plays, if Mike Evans plays, at that point, it would be very difficult to go through and start him. Instead, I probably would go ahead and play Chase Claypool, assuming that George Pickens doesn't have a massive role as a week 1 rookie. Now, Juan coming out says start Devonta Smith or Breece Hall for my flex. We're going to go ahead. We're going to play Smith. I love the upside that we have for Breece Hall later on in the year. Breece Hall probably be the guy that I prefer rest of season. But week 1 in particular, we're going through. We're starting the player we've seen be productive in the NFL. Red Bull says non-PPR start Jerry Jeudy or Josh Jacobs. Obviously, this is a completely different formula in a non-PPR format. Non-PPR actually would be willing to go Josh Jacobs, just hoping that he falls into the end zone. And Studley Stu coming out says Akers or Cook going forward in Dynasty. Oh, this is a good question, my friend. I feel like any way I answer is the wrong way. This is such a good question. Devin Singletary is not under contract next year for Buffalo. In Dynasty at this point, I think you may have to go James Cook over Cam Akers. I can't say it. I can't say it out loud. I'm going to stick with Cam Akers. But one more week of Darrell Henderson as the starting running back, then maybe we change our answer. So let me know what y'all think in the live chat right now. Please spam the chat. Help Studley out here. In a Dynasty fantasy football context, So you're taking these players for the rest of their careers. Are you preferring Cam Akers or James Cook? Cam Akers or James Cook? Now, Brian says, Pickens or Deontay Johnson? Deontay Johnson, easy. With Johnson questionable. Based on everything that I've seen, looks like Deontay Johnson's going to play Sunday. Says, thank you. Also, do you still have those hats? Yes, I still have those hats. I don't have one on me. I just shipped out a ton of these, like literally. Let me see if I can show y'all this real quick. Yeah, we have a ton of those hats we are shipping out. We gave away like 10 hats in that 24-hour live stream. But we're not doing any, I think, free giveaway hats. Maybe how about this? We'll do hat giveaways. I think we'll do it a little bit different than what we did last year. I'm going to get y'all hat giveaways at the end of every single one of these live streams. They're available on flockfantasy.com as well if you want to go ahead and purchase them. But I'll give away hats every single live stream going forward. It'll be at the very end. And so Matthew says, as always, love the content, man. Thoughts on starting Elijah Moore over Brandon Cooks based on the defensive matchup this week and quarterbacks? I know everybody wants to chase this Baltimore defensive matchup here. I'm still probably going to go ahead. I'm going to take Brandon Cooks. I mean, this offense is going to be disgusting in New York. And the difference between what we have with the New York Jets and the Houston Texans is in Houston, Brandon Cooks is going up against Nico Collins, and that's it. Elijah Moore does have Garrett Wilson. He does have Corey Davis. He does have Braxton. I'm going to prefer Brandon Cooks. Now, Mark says start Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr week 1. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take, how about this? If Lazard misses, I think we go Derek Carr. If Lazard misses, I think we go Carr. I just really think that this Los Angeles Chargers defense is going to be significantly better this year. Now, RS Germany coming out says start Pollard or Dameon Pierce. Thanks, buddy. No, thank you so much. And obviously, I mean, here, if we're going to be looking at Tony Pollard, looks like it'll be a very high-scoring contest between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. And at the same time, this Dallas Cowboys offense is so desperate for playmakers that they may have no other option but to put Tony Pollard in the flex spot there. But still, that's not a guarantee. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the best team against the run historically over the past 2 seasons. Obviously, it's not the same exact defense, but still, let's go ahead. Let's play Dameon Pierce. Juan coming out says, should I trade Deebo Samuel for Mike Evans and Marquez Valdez-Scantling? If you're playing in a deep format where you think Marquez Valdez-Scantling will actually be a starter for you, sure. Shallow league, I do prefer Deebo over Evans now that Godwin's looking good. Robert coming out says, rate my team where we got Lance at quarterback. At running back, we have Austin Eckler, Dameon Pierce. Wide receiver, we have Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, Michael Thomas, Mark Andrews at tight end. And then on the bench down there, we have Kareem Hunt, Breece Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, and Brandon Cooks. It's a 12-team PPR format. Hell, we have the elite level running back with Eckler. We have a rushing quarterback with Lance. We have a couple high upside wide receivers. And most importantly, the elite tight end with Mark Andrews. I think this is a great team. You're going to be having to sit on your hands until we get Breece Hall or Dameon Pierce breaking out their rookie seasons. I agree. I think we start Pierce week 1 as much as it pains me to say. In reality, I think when we're looking at Breece Hall breaking out later in the year, you're going to be in a great spot. Okay. Now, Ryan says, can you look at my message in the chat? Too long to fit. I am so sorry, Ryan. There's no way I can find your message. If you can't notice in that live chat right now, it goes so fast. So what happens is when donations come through, those messages go on a separate page for me where I can actually go through and I can read those in order. Alan says, do you think I should make another $200? Okay, Alan, I remember. Okay, I was thinking about this. I swear to God, Alan, I was walking the dog today on the trails next to my apartment, and I was thinking about this. Last year, Alan did the most reckless thing you could ever do, and I would never recommend doing this. And I know what you're saying, and I'm not going to have you do it again. So on Underdog, obviously, you can check out these player props. Link in the description. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And Alan went through and he took advantage of the deal. He deposited $100 on Underdog Fantasy, made a 5-player parlay bet with the $200 he had in his account because he deposited $100 and it was matched with promo code FLOCK. And then he won $5,000. Again, congrats. That will always go down as being legendary. We made him send it to me on Twitter so we could go through and confirm it and show it in the live stream. Do not do that, my friend. Do not do that. For the love of God. That's so weird that you come out and ask that, because I probably haven't thought about that in a year, and for whatever reason that popped into my mind today when I was walking the dog. Slim74 says, how long does Geno last before Lock is the starter? Metcalf owners need Lock. Let me know, would y'all rather, if you are a Metcalf owner in this live chat, Metcalf or Tyler Lockett owner, I think y'all are the same breed. Would you rather have Geno Smith or Drew Lock at quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks? Personally, man, I have no idea how to evaluate these quarterbacks. I can't tell you how long Geno Smith is going to last. I mean, obviously, Lock looks like he's more the gunslinger. It looks like there would be a larger opportunity for Spike Weeks for DK Metcalf with Lock in there. But the Seahawks want to run the ball and they want to play keep away. They want to run the ball and play good defense. I feel like Lock is the exact opposite of what they're looking for. I mean, if they're not going to let Russell Wilson sling the ball over the field, seems like a tall ask for them to let Drew Lock. Okay, so let me go through, try to find our next message here. Steven says, I got to hear the analysis on Cam Akers tonight. I got Darrell Henderson in every league with the late pick. Congrats on that, my friend. I've been drafting a lot of Cam Akers in the 5th and 6th round over the past month. I have Cam Akers in 11.1% of leagues. So I am feeling the pain. I am the idiot. I am the fish in the league with Cam Akers. He's toast. I think he's toast. We were looking at a wide range of outcomes. I was like, okay, he can't be the starting running back in an elite level offense. He was a round 1 pick last year before the 20 Achilles. I'll take him in round 5. I'll take him in round 6 this season and roll the dice. We rolled the dice and we clearly lost. I think Darrell Henderson's the guy. Darrell Henderson clearly got the workload on every down. Darrell Henderson looked better with the ball in his hands. I think you have the starting running back in Los Angeles, my friend. And it pains me to say it. Trust me. I have more Cam Akers than I do Darrell Henderson, and I wish that wasn't the case. Now, Trey coming out says, trade Austin Eckler for Justin Jefferson. Where at running back, I have Eckler, Aaron Jones, and Javonte. Wide receivers, I have Sutton and Brandon Cooks. Thanks, dog. Love the content. No, thank you. And yes, this is the perfect spot to go ahead. Trade Austin Eckler for Justin Jefferson. I mean, I think that moving down from Eckler to Javonte Williams, that's not as much of a downgrade as moving from Brandon Cooks to Justin Jefferson is as an upgrade. Okay. So now our next question coming out from Squab says, hey Mason, opinions on my team reference. It's a 16-team auction draft team. Okay, so everyone, 16-team league here. Lower your expectations. This is going to be a gross roster, but every team in a 16-team league looks bad on paper. You have Kyler Murray at quarterback. Definitely a top 16 quarterback. The wide receiver, we have McLaurin, Hollywood Brown. So we have the stack there with Kyler and Hollywood. We have James Conner as well as a running back 1. We have Freiermuth, a tight end. Stevenson, Lockett, Doubs, Burks. I really like the team. It's going to come down to, can one of these rookies break out? If Treylon Burks can break out, I think you have a lot of upside. Obviously, in a 16-team format, though, you got to beat 11. You got to beat 15 other owners. So we do need to have a high ceiling. We have to have someone breaking out from somewhere. Okay. Now our next question coming out from Ronfi says, have Russell Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb, Cole Kmet, Elijah Mitchell, Damian Pierce, Rhamondre Stevenson, Brandon Ayuk, Rashad Penny, Devontae Parker, and Sky Moore. What do you think? Who should I start with? 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex? Overall, I think it's a very strong team. I mean, you have Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley on the same roster. Those are the guys who are starting at running back every single week. A wide receiver, we're going to start Lamb easily. Great matchup. Great offense, great receiver. We're going to start DJ Moore as well. I don't love the spot against the Cleveland Browns. Should be bad weather as well. Now, for the flex, it gets a little more difficult. I would say if George Kittle's out, which it sounds like Kittle's probably going to play, but if he were to miss, I'm going to play Brandon Ayuk. If Kittle were to play, which it sounds like he's going to, I go Elijah Mitchell. Squirrel says, hey, Mason, should we be excited about Darrell Henderson? I definitely think you should. Let me see how many targets did he have. Yeah, he had 5 targets out of the backfield, 5 receptions as well. You should be excited about Darrell Henderson. 100%. 100%. Frolicking Heifer coming out says, don't lie. The voice is always gross. Thank you, my friend says. Thanks for always killing it. Like and subscribe. Thank you for always coming out to the live stream, my dude. And yes, if you have not done so already, listen to Frolicking Effort. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We are going to hit 96,000 subscribers by the time this live stream ends. And also, we are going to hit 2,000 likes. Thank you so much. Y'all are all sickos, and I appreciate you. And my voice doesn't always sound this gross, okay? We just did a 24-hour live stream, and I've live streamed like 100 days in a row. So you got to excuse the voice. We're still catching up from that 24-hour stream. And Ben says, trade recommendations, 12-team league. Quarterback, we have Rodgers. Wide receiver, we have Kupp, Hollywood, Godwin, McKenzie, Watkins, Watson. Running back, we have Eckler, Sony, Montgomery, Herbert. Tight end, we have Dawson Knox. I like the team. You're rostering too many wide receivers here, though. You're rostering too many wide receivers. You got to cut one of these guys, especially if this is a non-PPR format. And in a non-PPR league, we're going to be more excited about putting a running back into our flex spot. So I think you're making a mistake here. Go ahead, drop one of these receivers to the very end of this team, either Sammy Watkins or Isaiah McKenzie. Go pick up an extra running back. Trey says, any chance that Sammy Watkins is the wide receiver one in Green Bay? I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's likely. I think it's a possibility. I've been fading Allen Lazard all offseason when he's been going in like round 6, because I think that you could either see Lazard as the wide receiver one, which is the most likely case, but it's priced in as if it's a guarantee, or it could be Christian Watson, or it could be Romeo Doubs, or it could be Sammy Watkins, or maybe Aaron Jones. I think that you may see any one of those players be the wide receiver one in Green Bay. So let's just say I'm not a massive Lazard guy. And now Ethan coming out says, should I play Josh Jacobs or Mike Williams in the flex in a half PPR format? I'm expecting this to be a game where the Raiders can't just afford to run the ball. I mean, they're going up against a great defense. Not only are they going up against a great defense, but at the same time, we know the Chargers are putting up points. So I think we go ahead, we play Mike Williams. I don't love the spot for Josh Jacobs. Now, Chisel says Elijah Mitchell, Juju Smith-Schuster, Matthew Stafford for Justin Herbert. First two are on the bench. I'm fine with it if it's that shallow. If it's like an 8-team league, if it's a 10-team league where it's only 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, where it's extremely easy for us to go through and find running backs, find receivers off the waiver wire. Sure, in that format, we do it. In a deeper league, no, you're giving up too much. Justin says, need one to fill wide receiver one in a flex. Pick 2 out of 3 where we got Michael Pittman, Juju, and Chase Edmonds. We're starting Michael Pittman at wide receiver. I love the upside that we'll have with Juju Smith-Schuster in this matchup going up against the Arizona Cardinals. But when we haven't seen what the target distribution is going to be like here in Kansas City, I honestly would rather just go ahead. I'd rather take the security that we're going to have with Chase Edmonds, who is almost guaranteed to be the starting running back here in Miami, or at least guaranteed to be the passing down option. Okay, but let's go through and find our next question. So next one coming out from Tyler says, what do you think of me trading away Brandon Cooks and Cordell Patterson for Alvin Kamara? I think you are robbing your league mate. I think you take Alvin Kamara and you run. Like, if that's an offer that you currently have sitting out there right now on Yahoo, ESPN, Sleep, wherever you play, in this live stream, turn it off. Go accept the deal. There's no reason for you to be watching this, my friend. Of course, I never want to tell someone in the live stream. And Justin says, need to fill 1 wide receiver in a flex. Pick 2 out of 3. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We just answered that one. Our next one coming out from Robert says, who should I trade and get back? At quarterback, we have Lance. At running back, we have Dalvin Barkley. At receiver, we have DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy. We have the elite level tight end, Kyle Pitts. We have Darnell Mooney, Kadarius Toney, Damian Pierce, Amari Cooper, Jahan Dotson has some depth here. In reality, I think you're sitting pretty. Yeah, the elite quarterback, the elite tight end, not wasting roster spots on backup guys at the position. I hate to say this, my friend. I know it's the laziest answer I could ever give. I know it doesn't help at all. I think you have a very strong team, and I don't think I make any moves. Now, Gus Ball says, out of Sutton, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Thomas, and Rashad Penny, who would you sit in a 14-team league? Do we go ahead and just sit Michael Thomas this week? Going back to what we were talking about with some of these other players, like, I love the upside that we have for Michael Thomas rest of season. But at the same time, when we haven't seen him actually be productive since 2019, it couldn't hurt to go ahead and just sit him, wait until we actually see some production. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's sit Thomas. I know it's a good matchup against Atlanta, though. And Mitchell says, PPR, we have Stafford at quarterback. At receiver, we have Chase, Pittman, Sutton, Deontay, Darnell Mooney. At running back, we have Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson, Dameon Pierce. Tight end, we have Andrews. Thoughts on Stafford? I would love to trade Stafford and package him together with one of these depth pieces like Dameon Pierce and bring in an elite level quarterback that could have rushing upside. But the sad thing is you can't do it after tonight. You're going to have to wait until, let me pull up the Rams schedule going forward. You're going to have to wait until we get a respectable week out of Matthew Stafford. And to be honest, next week going up against Atlanta, I think here it's a clear bounce back spot for the Rams. And then after that, going up against the Cardinals in what should be a shootout type game. So I want to trade away Stafford. You can't do it after tonight. You have to wait until he actually has an impressive performance against those two teams. And we just passed 1,700 likes in the live stream, and we are only 100 subscribers away from 96,000. Thank you all so much for everybody going down there, dropping a like in the live stream. We stream every single night, and I'm going to stream every single night until the season ends, or until the fantasy football season ends. So if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified and actually know when we're live so you can come out and ask questions. But our next question coming out from from Benson says, started Akers tonight in the flex. I am very sorry to hear that, my friend. Very sorry to hear that. So obviously we're just chasing the highest ceiling possible. Who to start in the second flex spot between Etienne, Edmonds, and Michael Thomas? I think if we're chasing the highest ceiling possible, I'm going Travis Etienne. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Travis Etienne. And now Josu coming out says, rate my team in a 12-team PPR league where we have Kyler Murray at quarterback. Running back, we have Fournette, James Conner, so the 2 league winning guys last year. Higgins, Deontay Johnson. Thank God we have the elite level tight end. Was a little bit worried until we saw that. Elijah Moore. And then we have Godwin, Miles Sanders, highlights of the bench. Love the team. Not much I can say. If we could trade Deontay Johnson and go get Hollywood Brown and get a stack in with Kyler Murray, I think that would make a lot of sense. But we have the elite QB, the elite tight end. We're respectable everywhere else. Love it. Now, Juan coming out says, rate the team in a 10-team PPR format where we have Justin Herbert at quarterback. At running back, we have Austin Eckler. At receiver, we have Elijah Moore, Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore. We have the elite level tight end with Andrews. We have at the flex spot, Devonta Smith, Gabriel Davis. Love the team. Love the pairing of Herbert and Eckler. Not a lot of offenses I would be excited about stacking the quarterback and running back combination. But here regarding Eckler, we know that this is going to be a running back that has a significantly higher target share than league average. So that's, in my opinion, the perfect guy to go out and attach to his quarterback. So I love that. And Ant says, trade Mike Gesicki and Elijah Moore for Cole Kmet and A.J. Dillon. Yes, I think you're getting an upgrade at tight end. I think I'd rather have A.J. Dillon over Elijah Moore. Go ahead and make the deal. Ryan says, 10-team PPR league where we have Kyler Murray at quarterback. At running back, we have Eckler, Swift. At receiver, we have Higgins, Waddle, Hollywood, Deontay Johnson. We have the elite tight end with Mark Andrews. Beyond that, Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Edmonds, DeAndre Hopkins. Upgrade at wide receiver. Lower tier running back trades aren't working. Should I try to move Swift, Waddle, and DJ for a tier 1 receiver? If we could go ahead and move like DeAndre Swift and Jalen Waddle in a 10-team league in particular and bring in, say, Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp, yes, we do it. Outside of that, I mean, moving on from DeAndre Swift, I know we are so deep at running back here. Like Swift is a very exciting player. It would be really hard to do that. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Double Chef says, how often are you going to live stream after games? Would be dope if you live streamed after Thursday, Sunday, Monday night games with the instant fantasy analysis. So what we do is we live stream every single night. I mean, we live stream every single day except Sunday. Instead of live streaming at night on Sunday, I live stream in the morning leading up till kickoff for about 4 hours. Maybe this year with the live stream being a little bit bigger, it's actually 5 hours. And then right after the games, I have a video recapping all the games that will premiere that second. So we live stream every single day. Trust me, we are live streaming every single night except Sunday. And on Sunday, we live stream in the morning leading up to the games. Now, Ian says, started Juju Start Juju or Deontay Johnson in the flex. Assuming Deontay's healthy, we're going to go ahead. We are going to start Deontay Johnson. Okay, but our next question coming out from Matthew says, decided to start Allen Robinson over Rashad Bateman last minute and played against Stephon Diggs. Oh, I am sorry to hear that, my man. You say you have CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, two guys that obviously have very high upside. I mean, very high ceilings. But I think that if you start Allen Robinson and you play Stephon Diggs on Thursday night, you got to be penciling in a loss week 1. Great news for you is there are 15 more weeks to go through and turn it around. That is some pretty positive news, but I would be worried. And now our next question coming out from Cody says, burned by Dawson Knox. Hopefully Lamar, Jacobs, Mixon, Debo, Deontay, Darnell Mooney, or Brandon Cooks ball out. Hopefully this isn't an every week thing. Man, I am worried about Dawson Knox. I didn't like him coming into the year because we were calling him this year's Robert Tonyan. Literally the only reason it was propped up, in my opinion, was given the touchdown rate that he had. The touchdown rate was the only thing that changed. He was a very bad tight end on a yards per route run basis last year. Had a very low target share. If Jamison Crowder and Isaiah McKenzie are both involved, I think you have to be very worried. Now, Brady coming out says, thoughts on the starting lineup. We got Russell Wilson at quarterback. At running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Elijah Mitchell. At wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle. We have at tight end, Dallas Goedert, AJ Dillon at the flex spot. What are we doing with the bench where we have Renfro, Godwin, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, Dak Prescott? I like the team, in my opinion. I don't see why we're rostering both Wilson and Dak. And I would definitely start Dak over Wilson this week when he's going to be going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Love the matchup. I would really love to go ahead and try to package together Russell Wilson with another one of these pieces. Like if we could package together Russell Wilson and Dallas Goedert and get to a top 5 tight ends, I think that would be phenomenal. We're already betting on this Dallas Cowboys offense with CeeDee Lamb. So let's plan on starting Dak Prescott with him. So I would definitely try to package together Wilson and then start Dak, even if you don't trade away Wilson this week. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Slim74 says that Judy and Sutton underdog prop has me feeling real good about drafting the best route runner in the NFL. Let's go, Judy. Yeah, I mean, y'all know I've been a big Judy guy this offseason. And of course, Slim74, thanks for hanging out with us in this entire live stream. And it is nice to know when we've been fading Courtland Sutton when he's been going around to 2 rounds before Jerry Jeudy. Now to see on Underdog, you can see all the props here, of course. Go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK. You have all these props. Get a 100% deposit match. You'll get our 2022 rankings, our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. You can find the link in the live chat. It's nice to see. You can see it on the screen right now. Jerry Jeudy and Sutton having the same exact prop week 1. And now, our next question coming out, Brady asking the same question again. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. If you donate and I do not get to your question immediately, please do not donate with the same question. I feel very bad when we see that. You just got to give me a little bit of time. Right now, I'm about 9 minutes behind on donations. I promise you I'll get to your question. Do not think I missed it and do not think you need to donate again. Now, 6 letters says, fix my worst roster, where we have Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Breece Hall, Elijah Mitchell at running back, Kenneth Gainwell down there on the bench, wide receiver Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Rashad Bateman, Ayuk, David Njoku. Try to go 0 running back and backfired epically. Shallow redraft ESPN PPR format. If we're going 0 or B in a shallow league, I think what we need to focus in on is grabbing the elite level tight end. I don't necessarily think that we need to go ahead and panic. But if we could trade like Rashad Bateman and David Njoku and get a top 6 tight end that we feel very comfortable with, I think that would be exciting. I mean, we have Jalen Hurts on this roster. Like if we could trade Bateman and Njoku and go get Dallas Goedert, I think that'd make a lot of sense on a roster that has Kupp, Hill, Mike Evans, and Ayuk. So you're not really going to be missing Bateman much. Okay. So now our next question coming out from Jack says, should I start Rashad Penny or Christian Kirk at the flex? I'll go Penny with Kenneth Walker not playing week 1. Walker's not playing week 1, so I'll go Penny. Alexander says, worth dropping Chase Claypool for Christian Watson or anyone? Not for Christian Watson. Like, trust me, Christian Watson is my most invested into player in fantasy football this year because we were getting him as the wide receiver 71 on Underdog, which was just absolutely crazy. But I don't think we dropped Claypool over him because while I do like Pickens, and I think Pickens is the wide receiver 2 here, it's not going to happen at the beginning of the year. Maybe you get a spike week from Claypool and you're able to sell him high. Okay. So now our next question coming out from Cameron says, rate my team. Any ways to improve? It's a 10-team max of 5 per position. Hate that rule. Hate. Well, I do not like rules where you have to go through and you have to limit yourself to your roster construction. I truly don't understand that. But going back to what we were looking at, Fields and Burrow at quarterback. Running back, we have Mixon, Barkley, Elijah Mitchell, Kareem Hunt, Darrell Henderson. At wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Sutton, Amari Cooper, tight end Dalton Schultz. Love this team. I think that what we can possibly look to do, knowing that there are going to be so many wide receivers on the waiver wire, if it's a 10-team league and you can only roster 5 of them at the very most, there are going to be so many guys that would be worth picking up. If we could trade like Amari Cooper and Dalton Schultz in a package and just get a slight upgrade at the tight end position, just go get Darren Waller, George Kittle, I think that would be very interesting. Okay. Now, Chisel coming out says it's a 10-team, 2-quarterback league. I have Joe Burrow at QB1, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon at running back. We have Mike Williams, CeeDee Lamb, and Deontay Johnson at wide receiver. Should I do it now? Okay, let's go back and let's find Chisel's initial question here. Sorry, just give me 1 second to find this. And of course, as I find this, if you have not done so already, we are less than 200 likes. Less than 200 likes away from hitting 2,000 on the live stream. Fix your life if you have not done so already. Go down there, drop a like on the stream, and we are 60 subscribers away from 96,000. So subscribe to the channel. So essentially trading away Elijah Mitchell, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Stafford for Herbert definitely changes things that this is a 2-quarterback league. This being a 2-quarterback league, yes, we make the deal. We make the deal. I thought it was a 1 QB league before you said that, though. Robert says, would you start Lance or Rodgers in a 12-team format? I'm going to go Lance. Assuming it's a 4-point passing touchdown league, we're going to go ahead. We're going to start Trey Lance. If it was a 6-point passing touchdown league, we go Aaron Rodgers. And Ant coming out says, Mike Gesicki, Elijah Moore for Cole Kmet, A.J. Dillon. We already answered this. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Cole Kmet and A.J. Dillon. Mark, long time no see, my friend, says, what's the deal with Allen Robinson? With Allen Robinson, we looked it up. I mean, I thought it was 1.3 yards per route run last year, which obviously you had to be very concerned about. I was wrong. He was not bad enough to have 1.3 yards per route run like I thought last year. It was 1.2. He was bad last year, starting off bad again this season. I think it's time to panic with Allen Robinson. You don't cut him, obviously, and you can't sell him. Nobody's going to pay for him. But I think you should be worried. Okay. Now, Kevin says, Nico and Tyreek Hill for Cooper Kupp in Dynasty. We go ahead, we take Cooper Kupp. Nico Collins in Dynasty is just absolutely nothing. Nico Collins in any format's nothing. Ron Fee says, 12-team PPR format. Should I drop Sky Moore for any of these? Sterling Shepard, AJ Green, Jahan Dotson, Kenny Golladay, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Sammy Watkins, Noah Fant, or Irv Smith Jr. Not interested in any of the receivers. The best player on that list was Irv Smith Jr. If you have a tight end you like, then hold on to Sky Moore. If you think you need to pick up a different tight end to start, then go get Irv. Okay. Now our next question coming out from Trick says, how much fab do we spend on Darrell Henderson? Okay, this is going to be a crappy answer, but I can't give it any other way. When we work the waiver wire, specifically with fab budgets, it is so dependent on your league settings. If you're playing in an 8-team format, if you're playing in a league where you had to go through and you had to cut Sky Moore to pick up Darrell Henderson, you had to cut Elijah Moore to pick up Darrell Henderson. If we're cutting Elijah Moore to pick up Darrell Henderson, I'm not that aggressive with our fab here. Whereas if we're playing in a 12-team league where instead the guy we're cutting is Marvin Jones, then hell, we can get up to 80% of our fab. So please, if you ever ask a fab question, the only way I can answer it is if you tell me who you're going to drop. You could give me all the information. You could tell me how many teams are in the league, what the starting lineup requirements are, or you could keep it very simple. Tell me who you're going to drop. I could infer the rest from there, but there's no possible way for me to answer how much you're picking up, how much of your fab you're picking up Darrell Henderson with if I don't know any of that information. Now, Jacob says, rate the team, 10-team format where we have at quarterback, Mahomes and Lawrence. Starting off great, but I will say we're dropping Lawrence, my friend. We're dropping Lawrence. At running back, we have CMC, Barkley, Dillon. Receiver, we have Waddle, Hollywood, Deontay, Godwin, Hopkins, Burks. Tight end, we have Andrews and Goddard. Yeah, so if you have Mahomes at quarterback, if we have Andrews at tight end, like, in my opinion, there are no reason to have backup players at those positions. Now, at the same time, I will say Goddard's way too good to drop. Like, if we could package together, say, Dallas Goedert and then another player like, say, A.J. Dillon and get an elite level running back in return, hell yes, we're going to do that. If not, maybe you just have to hold on to him. But regarding Trevor Lawrence, please just drop him. When you have Mahomes, there's no reason. Drop him and go pick up a high upside running back off the waiver wire. Go try to find the next Darrell Henderson off the waiver wire. And now, One World says Higgins, Godwin, MVS, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Michael Gallup, and Cortland Sutton, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Rashad Penny, Darren Waller, Lamar Jackson. Do I need to upgrade the wide receiver spot in a 10-team league? So at wide receiver, we have Higgins, who last year was the wide receiver 13 on a points per game basis. We have DJ Moore playing with the best quarterback of his entire career. And I'm not a Baker fan. Hook 'em horns. OU sucks. But still, I mean, I can be objective about it, and we can say Baker is the best quarterback he's ever played with. We have upside with Gallup. We have Sutton as well. I don't think you need to upgrade the wide receiver spot. I think you're fine, my friend. In says, thank you, of course, for always coming out. Says, did you start smoking or are you losing your voice? LOL. Looking forward to the streams all season. 100,000 subs coming soon. Thank you, my friend. And no, we did not start smoking. We did the 24-hour live stream. I don't know if you saw that, but we did a 24-hour live stream last week. I know you're pulling my leg here, but we did the 24-hour live stream, I think 3 days ago at this point. I thought my voice would be back by now, but clearly it's not. Clearly this is what we're rocking with. And now our next question coming out from Tyler says, thoughts on the team, 10-team format. Quarterback, we have Kyler. Running back, we have Eckler, Mixon. Wide receiver, we have DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. We have Dawson Knox at tight ends. Now, Sutton in the flex. Bench, Godwin, Allen Robinson, Dameon Pierce, Damian Harris, Rondale Moore. Any trade ideas? Personally, I would love to move off Dawson Knox. I don't think this is a one-time deal with Dawson Knox. I've been worried about him going into the season as well. I think he's very comparable to someone like Robert Tonyan. I think you're betting on the touchdown volatility to be there. You're having to pay a premium because it was last season. And we know the touchdowns are the most volatile statistic in fantasy football on a season-to-season basis, even if we can project the Buffalo Bills to be close to leading the NFL in overall touchdown volume. I would love to package together Damian Harris, who I perceive to be a low ceiling player with no involvement at all as a pass catcher in New England. If we can package him together with Dawson Knox and we can get an upgrade at the tight end position, I think that'd be fantastic. Now, Zyle coming out, I hope that's how we say your name, says, should I start Elijah Moore or Darnell Mooney at the flex? Also, I have Etienne over Elijah Mitchell at running back 2. Is that fine? Here, I think that is fine. Regarding Elijah Mitchell or Darnell Mooney, let's go ahead. Let's start Elijah Mitchell. I mean, with Darnell Mooney, it's just going to be such a gross spot. If it's a full PPR format, maybe it's a little bit closer, but I am confident that Elijah Mitchell is the starting running back. Good to go week 1 here. I think there should be touchdown upside as well. Slim74 says, is Damian Williams a decent running back 3/flex? I don't know if you're trolling me here, my friend. I don't know if you're trolling. No, he's not. No, he's not. But Nick coming out with a massive donation. Thank you, my friend. Says, what am I doing with this roster? It's a 12-team super flex. Start 2 tight ends, premium dynasty league. Love it. Love this format. Lance Goff at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Chase, Allen Robinson, Burks. Running back, we have Barkley, David Montgomery, Tyrion Davis-Price. At tight end, we have Dalton Schultz, Hayden Hurst. On paper, this team does not necessarily look like it's strong enough to get the job done. But at the same time, we have a lot of win now assets. What I would look to do is I would look to try to sit on our hands for the next 3 or so weeks. If we start off 1-2, if we start off 0-3, then before it's too late, we flip the switch, we go rebuild, we build around 2023 picks, we sell some of these veteran assets, we move off Davante Adams, we move off Allen Robinson, we move off Saquon Barkley, we move off David Montgomery. Because right now, honestly, in Dynasty, I have found across all my leagues, and obviously I answer a crap ton of Dynasty questions every single day. I mean, I think that we probably answer more Dynasty questions every year than anybody else. Not saying I'm better than anybody else in Dynasty, but I think we have a very good idea of what the overall trade market's like at any given point. And right now, 2023 rookie picks are extremely cheap. So I think you could be in a nice spot to go ahead and rebuild if we start slow this season. Okay. Now, Ruggs says, you do a good job. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. And definitely, we are going to keep this up. Like I said, we are going to stream every single day. Every single day. We already have done it for like the past 100 days without a single day break. We're going to do it for the next 100 days as well. We're going to do it until the fantasy football season's over. So if you enjoy these live streams, if you want to be able to come out to these streams, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button as well. That way you actually get notified when we go live and you're able to come out and you're able to hang out here with us. But our next question coming out from Adam says, 10-team full PPR league. We have Lamar at quarterback. At running back, we have David Montgomery, Travis Etienne. At wide receiver, we have Jefferson, DJ Moore. Tight end, we have Pat Frymuth. Edmonds, Davis, what are your thoughts? I feel like I have a lot of upside. We have the elite level quarterback here with Lamar. Running back, we have respectable players. Actually, in a 10-team league, we're definitely weak at running back with Montgomery, Travis Etienne. Like 12-team league, I think we'd be fine, but 10-team league, we're a little weak. I love the team now that we have the Gabriel Davis breakout. If you would have asked me literally just 5 hours ago, I would have been very worried. I was not buying into just Gabriel Davis being a guaranteed breakout player this season, as everybody who was drafting him at the beginning of the 4th round was. But now that it looks like Gabriel Davis is going to go out there and be a high-end wide receiver too for you, I think that this is a very strong roster based on what we're going to have in the flex. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, Box says, Gabriel Davis is a god, huh? Yeah, no. I got to sit here. I probably got to take my L. I mean, we looked at this at the very beginning of the live stream. We went through and looked at our underdog exposures where we had, I believe, only 3%, maybe even less. Like 2 to 3% Gabriel Davis, extremely underweight. We are overweight on Cam Akers as well, 11.1%. So we got to take our L on Akers. We got to take our L on Gabriel Davis. At least we were smart enough to avoid Allen Robinson. I'll say that. And obviously, everything at this point is an overreaction to week 1, except Cam Akers looking like he's dead. Now, Chucko coming out says, half PPR. I have one flex spot. Should I start Ayuk or Dameon Pierce? Ooh. I feel like we've gotten this question 100 times this week, and I feel like I could go a different way every single time. If Kittle misses, it's Ayuk. It's not even remotely close. If Kittle misses, it's Ayuk. We don't think twice about it. Now, at the same time, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Kittle plays, and I'd be fine if you wanted to go Dameon Pierce. It's not a great matchup for either player. Now, Daniel says, start Lockett, Olave, Tyler Boyd, or Devin Duvernay. I know that obviously Lockett's in a very bad situation. Lockett having to deal with Geno Smith as his quarterback. But at the same time, how the hell? How could we go ahead and start Devin Duvernay over him? I think we go Tyler Lockett. I think Seattle plays from behind. I think they're forced to throw the ball. I can't necessarily say the same thing that we have here with Tyler Boyd. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Nicholas says, James Robinson and Cam Akers, what are your thoughts? Are you scared? I am very scared. And I actually like I apologize. Allen Robinson and Cam Akers. I was scared about Allen Robinson coming into the season. I was willing to go through and say, well, you know what? With Akers, obviously there are massive red flags, but at the same time, he was a round 1 pick before the torn Achilles last year. If we're going to get him in round 5, we're going to get him in round 6. I'll buy the dip. And we drafted him in 11.1% of our leagues. Over 700 drafts, we have Cam Akers in 11% of them, which is not looking good. And looks like he's the backup running back. Definitely worth a spot on your roster in case something happens to Darrell Henderson or something changes. But it's very gross. And Rectic L coming out says, rate my team and are there any ways we can improve? Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, cut Carson Wentz. You're never starting him over Trey Lance. No reason to have him on the roster. Beyond that, running back, we have DeAndre Swift, Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, Cam Akers. I would have been a lot more excited about this team before today, before we learned that Cam Akers is a handcuff running back. Wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool. And then at tight end, we have Pat Freiermuth and Cole Kmet. I don't love rostering 2 tight ends, but I think you can do it when your second guy is Kmet here. Let's go ahead and let's cut Carson Wentz, pick up just a high upside running back because it looks like at this point, we're not starting Akers anytime soon. I think that we just have to invest a little bit more into the position, try to find the next Darrell Henderson, try to find a guy that's an injury away from actually being the starter in his backfield. Okay. Now, Matthew coming out, longtime member of the flock, says A.J. Dillon, Cole Kmet, or Adam Thielen, Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Josh Jacobs and Allen Robinson. Okay, so we're definitely preferring Adam Thielen and Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Josh Jacobs and Allen Robinson. That's not even close. Spam the chat with what you would want right now. I think that A.J. Dillon and Cole Kmet still have more value, but would you rather have A.J. Dillon and Cole Kmet or Josh Jacobs and Allen Robinson? Please spam the chat. What are you preferring there? Now, Hazook says 10-team PPR format. We have Jalen Hurts, Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce, Gabriel Davis at the flex spot. Benches Bateman, Hunt, Darrell Henderson, Russell Wilson. How am I looking? You're looking great, my friend. I still don't love having 2 quarterbacks. I think if we could go through, if we could trade Russell Wilson in a package with another one of these assets, if we can trade like Russell Wilson and Rashad Bateman, get an elite level wide receiver in here, I think that would be fantastic. But real quick, we are 15 likes away from 2,000 likes in the stream. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like in the stream if you want to be our 2,000th like on this live stream here. And now, our next question is coming from True Visions, who says, in a 10-team league, $250 to $1,250 anywhere we can win. We got Lamar at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor at running back, Tyreek Hill at receiver, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, George Kittle, Albert O, Ramondre Stevenson, Breece Hall. Don't care about your kicker defense. Are we worried about tight end or are we good to go? Man, you're fine at tight end. You're in a great spot. I mean, at tight end here with George Kittle, literally has led the NFL among wide receivers, tight ends, however you cut it. He has led the NFL over the past 3 years in yards per route run. He's in a fantastic spot. You do not need to be worried. And also, with Greg Dulcich hitting the IR, I think that all of a sudden this makes Albert O a more appealing option as well. I think you're fine. Don't worry about it, my friend. Now, Manny says, drop DJ Chark for either Tyler Algier or Christian Watson. DJ Chark is going to outscore Christian Watson at the beginning part of this year. Like, DJ Chark is going to look better week 1. But rest of season, knowing that Jameson Williams will be back eventually and he will take that role from DJ Chark, I'm actually going to go ahead and I am going to prefer to just have have Christian Watson over DJ Chark. Have the player that we think has a very high ceiling if things break right in his favor, but does have a very low floor as well. I mean, I would argue that DJ Chark's a player that is like almost the exact opposite. I think he has a very high floor with what his role will be here in Detroit, but will have a very capped ceiling as well because he's always going to be behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to be behind DeAndre Swift, behind TJ Hawkinson in targets, and he's going to be playing with Jared Goff. There's a chance Christian Watson is the wide receiver 1. And on top of it, not only the wide receiver 1, but plays with Aaron Rodgers. Now Rob coming out says in a 12-team league where we start 3 receivers, at quarterback we have Josh Allen. At running back we have James Conner, Chase Edmonds, J.K. Dobbins, Dameon Pierce, Alexander Madison, Rachaad White. At receiver we have Cooper Kupp, Jerry Jeudy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devonta Smith. Okay. Gerald Everett at tight ends. I'm actually fine punting tight end in this format in particular, where we have to start 3 wide receivers. If we have to start 3 wide receivers, tight end's going to make up a lower percentage of our overall starting lineup output. So I think what we probably look to do is, if we can, pick up another tight end off the waiver wire. But outside of that, I think it's a very strong roster. I mean, it would be nice when we have Josh Allen, if we could bring in Stephon Diggs, but it's going to be very difficult to trade for Stephon Diggs after what we just saw. And now our next question coming out here from Skrill. Happy to have you out. Says, hey, Mason, I have Darrell Henderson. Should I be excited? Obviously, you should be excited, my friend. And Dicer after that says, having Cooper Kupp is a blessing. Definitely a blessing. And I don't mean to flex on y'all. I know I am a genius here. I get it. But I tweeted out a bold call before this game. I went out on a limb. Most fantasy analysts are scared to do this. I am not. I went out for a bold call before this game. Tweeted out, and I said, Cooper Kupp is going to score a lot of points. And what happened? Cooper Kupp scored a lot of points, just as I predicted. Yeah. I hate to say it, but maybe I'm just the best. Maybe I'm the best. Ignore the fact that I've taken a lot of, I've drafted too much K-makers. Ignore that. But now our next question coming out from Egoham says, 14-team league. At quarterback, we have Lamar Jackson. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Dameon Pierce. Wide receiver, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. We have Kyle Pitts at tight end. Any recommendations for the overall squad? Love the team in a 14-team format where we have Lamar at quarterback, Pitts at tight end. Just make sure we're not rostering a backup QB. Make sure we're not rostering a backup tight ends. And beyond that, I mean, if we could go ahead and... Actually, we're not going to look to make 2-for-1 deals here because it's a 14-team league. The options on the waiver wire are going to be a little grosser. So I hate to give you this answer. Obviously, it's the worst answer I could ever give. It doesn't help anybody. But no, I'm not really making any moves. I think you have a great roster. And we just hit 96,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank y'all so much. I mean, y'all are absolutely ridiculous. And our next question coming out from Pedro says, 10-team PPR league. We have Josh Allen at quarterback. At running back, we have Alvin Kamara, J.K. Dobbins. At wide receiver, we have Jefferson Higgins. Kyle Pitts at tight end. Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, Hopkins, Damian Harris, Tony Pollard, George Pickens, James Robinson. Trade thoughts or chill? I would love to package together Damian Harris with the wide receiver here. Like, if we could package together like a Damian Harris with, say, Michael Thomas and get an upgrade at the wide receiver position, that's going to be fantastic because in a 10-team league, in my opinion, Damian Harris just simply doesn't have the upside to actually be a player that can make a difference for you on a week-to-week basis. Like, what would have to happen realistically? What would have to happen for Damian Harris to become a league-winning player in a 10-team league? It's just not possible. Now, Ian coming out with the donation. Thank you, my man. Says, in a 10-team PPR league, we have Josh Allen at quarterback. At running back, we have Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Dillon. At wide receiver, we have Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle. We have the elite level tight end, Travis Kelce. Bench is Kadarius Toney, Tony Pollard, Tyler Boyd, George Pickens, Rachaad White, Christian Watson, Tyrion Davis-Price. I really like the team. As of now, it looks like you may actually not have Tyrion Davis-Price as the running back 2 in San Francisco. I mean, obviously not a great spot to be in. It looks like it may be Jeff Wilson. I can't necessarily guarantee that that's going to be the case. I think at this point, we just kind of have to be patient. I want to see what we have week 1. And then after we see what we have week 1, maybe you actually look to go through and at that point, move on from Tyrion Davis-Price. I think eventually you can cut him. But at the same time, if he's the running back 2 in San Francisco, then that is going to be a very valuable role to have. And I think he is a running back with upside. So we kind of just have to sit on our hands and wait to see what we have. And outside of that, I love the squad. We have the elite quarterback, the elite level tight end, and we're not rostering anybody down there on the bench. And Daniel says, you said start Dameon Pierce over Kareem Hunt. Why so low on Kareem Hunt? My friend, I have drafted Kareem Hunt in way more leagues than I've taken Dameon Pierce in. But at the same time, if I'm going to be fair to Dameon Pierce, he's the starting running back. He doesn't have Nick Chubb in his own offense. I think it's honestly kind of a safe bet. I think it's let me know what y'all think in the chat. I mean, I like Kareem Hunt. I promise you, I have Kareem Hunt in way more leagues than I have in Dameon Pierce. But at this point, I think you have to prefer Pierce week 1. I think you have to prefer Pierce rest of season as well. Okay. But let me go ahead, and I think we are caught up on all donation questions. So let me check out the general chat. So Spiro says, Damian Harris, Brandon Ayuk, Drake London, Chris Olave, or George Pickens for the flex. We have to go ahead. I think we have to play Brandon Ayuk. I'm very worried about what we may see with Ramondre Stevenson's role in New England. I think he may actually see more overall fantasy football production, knowing what he can do as a pass catcher as well over Damian Harris this week. I think we go Ayuk. And we have a donation coming out from Thomas. Thank you. It says, what would be a good running back to target with Bateman being a main trade piece? Okay, let me go ahead and let me pull up just... let's pull up Fantasy Pros ADP here. I mean, I don't think Underdog's going to be as good for this because, I mean, if you're just playing in a casual fantasy football league, I don't think your drafters are going to be as excited about Bateman as high-stakes drafters would be. So running backs that are in the range of Rashad Bateman on Fantasy Pros, I would like to go ahead and trade Bateman for like Tony Pollard, get the upside there. I mean, earlier than that, Chase Edmonds. I would be interested in going through and moving him for A.J. Dillon, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs. Assuming that we are just loaded up on wide receiver. And maybe we had like Cam Akers disappointing where we have to trade for a running back now. Ronfi says, offered Travis Kelce for my Mark Andrews. Should I stay put? We take Kelce over Andrews just because the passing volume is going to dramatically scale back in Baltimore, where if we go back and look at what you had from the Baltimore Ravens in 2020, 2019, this was a team that literally threw the ball like 400 times. They threw the ball 400 times. I think you go ahead, you take Kelce. Okay. Now let's find our next question here. And now Brian coming out says, should I panic on Akers? The other running backs I have are Joe Mixon, James Cook, Alexander Mattison, James Robinson. It is time to panic, my friend. I hate to be the guy overreacting after week 1. I truly do. But James Cook, after fumbling, I mean, he did not see another touch the entire game. It looks like we're not really getting anything out of James Cook anytime soon. Brian Robinson, obviously on the reserve here. Cam Akers is the clear backup running back in Los Angeles. I hate to be the guy to overreact. But it looks like the only running back we're starting regularly at this point is Joe Mixon. Looks like that's the only guy you can rely on. Now, the Iron Moon coming out says, traded Kyler Murray and Darren Waller for Kirk and Andrews. What are your thoughts? I'm fine with it. I'm not a massive Kirk Cousins guy. I think that he can possibly be a top 5 quarterback this year in passing. But if we go back and look at who a top 5 quarterback was last year in passing, Derek Carr was. And Derek Carr was a low-end QB1, high-end quarterback 2 in fantasy. When you have no rushing upside in a 4-point passing touchdown league, it is going to be so hard for you to have any type of real ceiling at all. Now, at the same time, getting Mark Andrews here. That's the part of it that we're excited about. Now, our next question coming out from Charles. Thank you. Says, in a 12-team PPR 0 running back build, we went ahead and took Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Running back, we have Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, A.J. Dillon. Pretty respectable running backs. Wide receivers, we have Chase, Lamb, Pittman, Dalton Schultz at tight end. How we looking? You're looking great, my man. Week 1, it's going to be difficult because, with these running backs, obviously you're starting Kareem Hunt. You're also going to be starting, actually, maybe we go Breece Hall over Hunt. I don't know. We're definitely going to be starting A.J. Dillon, and then you're going to figure it out between those other guys. I think we have running backs that are going to have roles week 1, but not necessarily massive roles that we're excited about. But we have a lot of upside. If one of these running backs were to break out down the stretch, then all of a sudden this could turn into a league-winning team. Like if we have Breece Hall doing what any running back with his rookie profile does their rookie seasons, then you're great. If you have Aaron Jones going down, you have a top 5 running back in A.J. Dillon, you win the league. If you have Nick Chubb going down, you have a running back 1 with Kareem Hunt, you win the league that way. And now, Hunter coming out says Juju Smith-Schuster, Darnell Mooney, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Cordell Patterson, or Rashad Bateman for the flex spot. Let me go ahead and pull up. I can tell you exactly where we had these players ranked this week. We have Darnell Mooney, 21. Jerry Jeudy, 22. Obviously in the same tier. With Juju Smith-Schuster, the tier below that I would like to see. We're not going Patterson or Bateman. I definitely want to see a week from them. It's going to be Mooney or Jeudy for you. It's legitimately a coin flip. Maybe we kind of wait to see what the weather's going to be like with that Chicago Bears and San Francisco game. If the weather looks like it's going to be gross, maybe we use that as a tiebreak and we go ahead and we decide to just, I don't know. It's so close. Spam the chat with what you want right now. Would you start Jerry Jeudy or Darnell Mooney this week? Are you going Jerry Jeudy or Darnell Mooney this week? Please spam the chat. Now, Flex Wob says, full PPR, Patrick Mahomes, CMC, Saquon Barkley, Rashad Penny, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Albert O, Javonte Williams, with a bunch of bench pieces. We have Bateman, Hopkins, Dobbins, Watson, Tony, Rashad White. What are your thoughts? Oh, man, obviously it's a great team. If we could go ahead, if we could use one of these bench pieces in a package, like trade Bateman and Rashad Penny together, wait for Penny to have a hot start to this year, knowing that we won't have Kenneth Walker to start the year when he works his way back from the hernia, that would be appealing because we have so much depth. Now, looking at the chat, looks like most people are in on Jeudy over Mooney. Looks like most people are in on Jeudy over Mooney. We definitely do have some Mooney people, though. Now, our next question coming out from Wabbit, who says, in a 2-quarterback league, thoughts on Dak and Tua for the year? Dak's not going to be the same quarterback he was a year ago. They scored the most points in the NFL a year ago. Now he has no Amari. He has no Cedric Wilson. Gallup's injured to start the year. The depth they brought in with James Washington's hurt as well. I think we need to be worried about Dak Prescott if you're as excited as you were last year. Obviously, Tua should take a step forward. What I'm really worried about with these players is the fact that these are guys that don't have rushing upside. In a 2-quarterback league, I think that you're probably league average. Definitely not above league average, though, at the QB position with those two guys. Now, Rec coming out says, Waddle or Lockett in my 1 remaining flex spot. You got to go ahead. You got to take Waddle. Waddle, not close, in my opinion. Now, Sadiq says, in a 14-team league, we have Josh Allen at quarterback. At wide receiver, we have Justin Jefferson, Brandon Cooks. Running back, Darrell Henderson, Kareem Hunt. We have the elite level tight end, Mark Andrews, Godwin, Gesicki, Romeo Doubs. How can I improve the team? We have the elite quarterback already. Obviously, this team looks so much better. I would have been very worried about this team before this week kicked off. But now that we know that Darrell Henderson is the starting running back in Los Angeles, I think you have a very strong roster here. Isaiah McKenzie, if we could sell Isaiah McKenzie for anything and maybe get a player that we're a little bit more excited about, I would do it. He didn't have the target share we were looking for week 1. I don't want to say he got lucky with the touchdown, but we know that those touchdowns aren't guaranteed going forward. I'd just be interested to see what we could get for him. And now our next question coming out from Donald says, if he takes it, Mixon, Juju, Kareem Hunt for Ja'Marr Chase and Nick Chubb. Am I offering too much? Hell no. Ja'Marr Chase and Nick Chubb, that's the winning side by a mile here. You'd be robbing the man if he accepts it. I imagine he's not going to accept that deal, my friend. At least I wouldn't accept it if I were him. Okay, so now our next question coming out from Leisure says, in a 14-team half PPR format, we have Mahomes at quarterback. At running back, we have Fournette, Mixon. We have the Juju stack with Patrick Mahomes, Bateman, Zach Ertz, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Do I make a move for a tight end or a running back upgrade? It's going to be much harder to do this in a 14-team league. If you notice, 9 out of 10 trades that I recommend people to make right now are them going and taking a depth wide receiver, packaging it with someone in the starting lineup to make an upgrade in that spot. And also knowing that there are going to be more than viable options on the waiver wire that we can go and we can pick up for free. However, if we are going to be looking at this type of situation where it's a 14-team league, those options on the waiver wire are going to be significantly worse, where I think it's going to be much harder to do so. I mean, with Zach Ertz, I think he'll be fine. If Zach Ertz starts off hot, we know DeAndre Hopkins, we would look to go through and sell him high. But it's the issue is we don't know if that's going to happen with the calf injury. Now, Noah says, sup, Mason, Henderson starting week 2 over Pollard. Probably. We got to see what Tony Pollard's role is in Dallas. Imagine, I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's most likely not going to happen, but you know how the internet, like Twitter, got shut down today, essentially, with people freaking out about Darrell Henderson being the starting running back over Cam Akers? What happens if Pollard's starting running back overseas? Obviously, that's not going to be the case, but I definitely want to see what the role is going to be for Pollard. Now, Serum coming out says, will Henderson maintain this or trade after today? I think he'll primarily maintain it. Like, if he had a bigger day in terms of, like, he actually scored touchdowns, then, yeah, we could look to go through and we can look to sell high. But I don't necessarily think that you're going to get a crazy price point for him, if we're going to be honest. Like, can't hurt to put him on the trade block, but I don't think anybody's going to be willing to overpay for Darrell Henderson. Now, Chris says, going to offer Akers for a Twix, good or bad deal? It depends. Are you getting a left Twix or are you getting a right Twix? If you're getting a left Twix, probably not. But if you're going to get a right Twix for Cam Akers, I probably would take it. Now, Jake says, hey, bro, 10-team league. I have Swift at running back 1, Akers running back 2. We also have Gibson and Dobbins down there on the bench. Am I looking to trade, drop, and grab waiver, etc.? Not really sure. Too early to tell, my friend. I mean, here with Cam Akers, obviously it's time to panic. Now, at the same time, what I would say is, who knows what happens if Gibson surprises us? Is a starting running back in Jacksonville, is a higher end running back 2 in fantasy, and you're sitting fine, and you can just move Akers down to your bench, and you have him as a handcuffed running back in Los Angeles. That is in the range of outcomes. I think that we kind of just sit here and wait to see what happens. Now, next question coming out from Penny says, Jerry Jeudy or Michael Thomas in a full PPR. We're going up against Wilson. Honestly, I don't even care who we're going up against. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to play Jerry Jeudy with Michael Thomas. I think he could very easily be the guy that you want down the stretch. I think he could very easily eventually be someone that you would rather have over Jerry Jeudy. But regarding this week in particular, like, we haven't seen Michael Thomas be productive since 2019. So even if I like the upside that we have Michael Thomas rest of season, let's go ahead. Let's take Jerry Jeudy here. And now ASAP Manifest says, thoughts on a 10-team PPR league where we're starting Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, and Darren Waller. You're crushing your league mates. What the hell am I supposed to say? Obviously, this is a great roster. You have 2 top 10 running backs. You have Justin Jefferson. You have another wide receiver 1, Keenan Allen. You have the elite tight end. I mean, if we have Russell Wilson, I would love to have either Sutton or Jerry Jeudy on this roster as well. Double down on this Denver Broncos offense. Like if we go through and trade Terry McLaurin for one of those pass catchers, I think that would be intriguing. Okay. Now, if you did not already, go down there, drop a like in this live stream, subscribe to the channel. We just hit 96,000 subscribers on the channel. You know, we may hit 100,000 before Sunday. There's a possibility we hit 100,000 subscribers before Sunday kickoff. If you have not subscribed, go down there, sub, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. We do these live streams every single day. I'm going to stream every single day until the season ends. So hit the bell. That way you know when we go live and you come out here and ask your questions. And now our next question coming out from Just Sherman, who says, actually, no, I'm sorry, from Peter, 10-team PPR format, where we have Russell Wilson at quarterback. At wide receiver, we have Sutton, Waddle, Mike Williams. At running back, we have Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. Wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller. Love the team. This is like identical to what we saw with that last roster as well. However, oh no, that's why. We switched over to that last roster halfway through reading this. I'm sorry. We have Russell Wilson at quarterback. Wide receiver, we have Sutton, Waddle, Mike Williams. At running back, we have Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz. And then on the bench, we have A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson, Chase. I'm assuming if this is Chase Claypool. Ayuk, Jahan Dotson, Jamal Williams. I really like this team. You're asking if you should get Nyheim Hines. In terms of getting him off the waiver wire, sure. The issue is if you were going to drop someone, who do you drop here? Who could you drop? I'm not dropping Jahan Dotson for Nyheim Hines. If you want to drop Jamal Williams for Hines, I'd be fine with a great team, though. Just Sherman says, need Ramondre Stevenson to take over quick or Isaiah Pacheco. I did not draft Isaiah Pacheco at all this year, my friend. I will be rooting for Ramondre Stevenson with you. If you need Ramondre Stevenson, I'll be rooting for Ramondre. I'm not rooting for Isaiah Pacheco, though. Now, our next one coming out from Pedro, who says, 2 quarterback Superflex League. We got 2 at quarterback. Carson Wentz as well. Obviously, you know it's gross. Running back, we have CMC, Nick Chubb. Great. We have Diggs, A.J. Brown, Higgins, the elite tight end with Kyle Pitts as well. Etienne, Akers, Godwin, A.J. Dillon, Allen Lazard, George Pickens. Should I trade for a quarterback? I think you could. I think you could get away with trying to trade like Allen Lazard and Carson Wentz and get an upgraded quarterback that way. Overall, it's a great team. I mean, obviously, you're crushing your league mates at running back. You have the elite tight ends. We just had Stephon Diggs going out there and smoking week 1. Like, I think you're in a good spot if we can trade like Allen Lazard and Wentz for an upgrade at QB. Someone with some kind of rushing upside. Now, Gerardo says Kyler for Josh Jacobs or other targets. We currently have Hurts as our top quarterback. Love the idea to go through and try to trade away Kyler Murray if we have Jalen Hurts. The issue is I think we need more. Like if we're going to be looking at a running back in that range, like if we could trade Kyler for David Montgomery, then sure, but not for Jacobs. And Jamie says, on a 10-team league, trading David Montgomery, TJ Hawkinson, and Rashad Penny for Travis Kelce, where we already have Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook. Great. This is what we're looking at in a 10-team league. In a 10-team league, we're going out there just trying to get the best player in the deal. We're trying to open up roster spots as well. Fantastic trade. Now, Cameron says Akers and the Queen had the same amount of rushing yards tonight. That does sound accurate, my friend. And Christian says 12-team PPR league. We have Kyler Murray and Brady at quarterback. Running backs, we have Najee Harris, Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Dillon, Devin Singletary. A wide receiver, we have Deebo Samuel, T. Higgins, Christian Kirk, Allen Lazard. We have the elite level tight end, Mark Andrews. Thank God. I think if we were to do anything here, I would love to package together Brady and Allen Lazard and try to get a wide receiver that we'd be very excited about. Like when we have Kyler, we're never starting Brady over Kyler, in my opinion. If we could go through and trade like Allen Lazard and Brady and get back Hollywood Brown to stack up with Kyler, I think that would be very exciting. Now, Adam coming out says, 12-team at PPR league. We have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. At receiver, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs. At running back, Chase Edmonds, Darrell Henderson, Miles Sanders. Tight end, Mark Andrews. DJ Moore starting. I would have been very worried about this team. But now that we know Darrell Henderson is the starting running back here, you're fine. Now that we know Darrell Henderson's the starting running back in Los Angeles, you're fine. Before that, I would have been very worried. And now the truth coming out says, what do I do with Allen Robinson? I have Allen, Lance, Fournette, Hunt, Mike Williams, Gabriel Davis, Tony Palmer, Henderson, Gainwell, Winston. It's a 2 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex league. My friend, what can you do with Allen Robinson? Here are your options. We bench Allen Robinson until we see something different. We trade away Allen Robinson, or we cut him. I think it's way too early to cut him. That's not an option. And regarding trading him away, what do you expect to get? Realistically speaking, what could you get for Allen Robinson right now? I don't think you could get a bag of peanuts. Like if you went to your league mates and y'all were all eating lunch together, say y'all were at a cafeteria and you went, God dang, I really want a bag of Lay's potato chips. Preferably barbecue flavor. Hey, Johnny, if you go and spend 99 cents and go buy me that bag of Lay's barbecue potato chips, I'll give you Allen Robinson. He probably looks at you and says, I'm not interested. You can't get anything for him after tonight. Every single person that plays fantasy football, every single person in your league, watch what happened tonight. I'm not even an Allen Robinson fan. We weren't saying to draft him going into the season. But I don't even think it's an option to trade him away because I don't think you can get anything. Like realistically speaking, and I would love to hear a counterpoint. In the chat right now, if you're buying low on Allen Robinson, please let me know. Let me know. But now, Isaiah says, trade Travis Etienne and Rashad Bateman for Michael Pittman. Personally, I would not do it. I like the upside of Travis Etienne. Now, Mark coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says, I have Burrow, Javonte, A.J. Dillon, Darrell Henderson, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Allen Robinson, Dalton Schultz, Kareem Hunt, Nico Collins, Joshua Palmer, Zamir White, and Treylon Burks. Anyone I should trade or drop in a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I mean, if we're going ahead and looking at this, I think Nico Collins is the first guy that we want to put on the chopping block. And that with Nico Collins, he probably has a very high floor in Houston. Like now that obviously you're not getting John Mechie this season, we know that he is going to get targets. But at the same time, if he is guaranteed to not be the wide receiver 1 here, we know that Brandon Cooks will have a very high target share. And he's going to be playing in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I think the ceiling is going to be severely capped with Nico Collins. Where I probably would go ahead, I probably would look to cut him unless we see something week 1. There's no reason to make the cut until we actually get Sunday. But I think that's the first guy off the chopping block. Outside of that, regarding possible deals, if we have Burrow, it would be nice to like trade A.J. Brown for Higgins. Just get some correlation in here. But in reality, I think it's a strong roster. Jackson says, in a 12-team PPR league, need to start 2 guys. We got J.K. Dobbins, Chris Godwin, who might miss. We also have George Pickens, Wan'Dale Robinson, Christian Watson, Sky Moore, and Isaiah Pacheco on the bench. Hunt for the waiver wire. You may have to go through. You may have to drop Isaiah Pacheco, drop Wan'Dale Robinson, drop Christian Watson, and pick up a veteran that may actually play right away. Like, I want to see... Okay, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs player props are coming up here in 1 second. Let me wait 1 second because we will have a Kansas City Chiefs player prop coming if it didn't just pass for Underdog here. And like, look at their realistic expectations that they have with some of these pass catchers that are rookies week 1. And of course, if you want to go check out these player props on Underdog, if you want to go take some of these bets, you can find the link in the live chat, find it in the description. Go sign up to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. You'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide. And you can check all these out. But let me see. I think they have Sky Moore for like 20 yards. Like literally 20 yards. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Okay, keep it going. Come on. Speed it up here. Sky Moore, 19.5 receiving yards. This is over under. Even though it's a great matchup against Arizona, like these rookies, I do not think we can start right away. You may have to go through. You may have to drop like Wandale or drop Isaiah Pacheco. Pick someone up off waivers. You're in a very tough spot with all these rookies. Obviously, a lot of upside for later on in the year, but the beginning portion of the season is going to be tough. Just Sherman says Rhamondre Stevenson or Brandon Ayuk for the flex. I don't exactly know what the role is going to be here regarding Rhamondre Stevenson and Damian Harris. Like, I think Rhamondre's probably going to get the majority of the high value touches in this offense, but still at the same time, like, let's wait and see. Let's just go ahead and let's start Brandon Ayuk right away. And Brian says we have Josh Allen, a quarterback. Running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Travis Etienne, Devin Singletary, and James Robinson. A wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Gabriel Davis. Obviously, having that Allen Robinson, Gabriel Davis tag, looking like you're winning week one. Chase Claypool, Russell Gage, Devontae Parker, DJ Chark, Treylon Burks. Tight end, we have Travis Kelce. Is this a championship team? Yes, I think it is. We have the quarterback one overall, the tight end one overall. Looks like we have a breakout wide receiver in Gabriel Davis, someone that I haven't drafted a lot of. CeeDee Lamb as well. I really like it. I think that we definitely just need to make sure that we are going through and we are rostering as many backup running backs, as many backup receivers as possible. Don't bother rostering an extra quarterback or tight end. Now, Criminal Kid says, yo, my guys, start Nyheim Hines or Amari Cooper the flex. Amari is in the worst situation you could ask. Weather's going to be bad, going up against a respectable defense. The passing volume's not going to be there in Cleveland. Like, on underdog is over under, like total points is like 9.5. But at the same time, I think we go ahead. I think we have to start Amari Cooper over Nyheim Hines. Like, I'm not a big Hines guy. Criminal Kids, a long-time member of the flock, says, yo, my guys, start. No, we just answered that one. Sorry. Pedro says, quarterback, should I start? Quarterbacks I should target when I pair up Wentz and Allen Lazard. It is going to be very difficult for me to give you that exact advice, knowing that every Superflex league, the market for the quarterback position varies greatly. It varies greatly. So I know it's a lazy answer. I would go and just throw them on the waiver wire. I'm sorry, throw them on the trade block. See what we get. Send a message out in your league chat and just see what the best quarterbacks available would be. And now our next question coming out from Sebastian says, at running back, we have CMC, Jonathan Taylor. I don't know how it could get better than that. I don't even know how that's possible. We also have Travis Etienne, running back 3. Wide receiver, we have Hollywood, Lockett, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Kadarius Toney. We have Kyle Pitts at tight end. Do I trade CMC or Jonathan Taylor for an elite level wide receiver? No, do not do that. You are just fine. Play Hollywood, play DJ Moore. Your league mates literally have no chance. If Christian McCaffrey stays healthy this year and you're able to go through and you are able to play the combination of CMC and Jonathan Taylor every single week, how could you possibly lose? You're going to be getting 50 points minimum out of those two guys every week. Your 2 running back spots are going to get you 50 points. You're sitting pretty, my friend. Danny coming out says, in a 2 quarterback league, half PPR, pick 10. Okay, so team quarterback. Ravens 49ers team quarterback is we have Lamar and Lance. Okay, Lamar and Lance. Running back, we have Dalvin, Mixon, Javonte. A wide receiver, we have Lamb, Keenan, Hawkinson, Dobbins, Madison, Devontae, Ayuk. What am I supposed to say? Like, literally, y'all send me these teams that are better teams than I've ever drafted in my entire life. Like, I do not have a single fantasy football team this year that has Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor on it. This is a 2 quarterback format where you have 2 elite level quarterbacks, multiple elite level receivers, strong at tight end, strong at running back. I can't say anything here, my friends. You're in a great spot to just go out there and crush. You don't have to make any moves. I mean, my advice would be start a YouTube channel, because I bet you would give much better advice than I do. I've never drafted a team like that. Dear God. Okay, so now moving on. We have Peyton says 10-team PPR format. Quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts. Running back, we have Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette. Wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, Gabriel Davis, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Devonta Smith. Tight end, we have Dallas Goedert. We also have Hopkins down there on the bench. What is a trade you would suggest? I would really like going through and getting A.J. Brown in a league where we have Jalen Hurts. Like if we could sell Gabriel Davis high straight up for A.J. Brown right now, I'd love to do that. Probably not going to be something that we're able to. Like if we could possibly package together like Rashad Penny and say Deontay Johnson and go out and get A.J. Brown and go all in on that Philadelphia Eagles offense with Jalen Hurts, with Dallas Goedert, with Devonta Smith. I think that would be very exciting. Obviously a very high ceiling, but a very low floor. I will say my first fantasy football championship I ever won was built around a Philadelphia Eagles stack. We went through, we stacked Nick Foles, LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson. We'd roll it out every single week. And thank you, Chip Kelly. It's beautiful. Now, Manuel coming out says, hyped to see all the growth and success for you, my guy. I got Kyler, CMC, Henderson, Keenan Allen, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, and Travis Kelce. I love the team. And of course, thank you so much for being a longtime member of the flock. Now, I'll say here, when we're looking at Kelce and Pitts, obviously we're trading one of these guys. It's not rocket science. I mean, you know this. I don't even need to say it. The thing is, we just have to wait until your league mates realize that they effed up letting you get a massive value on Kyle Pitts. So if you want to throw Kyle Pitts into your flex spot this week, I think it'll be fine. Long term, we are going to go ahead. We are going to look to try to trade him. That's going to be long term, of course, though. Like, say, week 3, week 4, after he actually has that elite level start to the year. But 6 Foot Mouse says, please tell me you avoided Cam Akers, Mason. I wish I could say I did. Now, we were avoiding him at the beginning of the offseason when he was going the 4th round, so that helped us out. But over the past month, when he was falling to the 5th, 6th round, I'm embarrassed to say I've drafted a lot of Cam Akers. Like, we pulled up our exposures earlier on the live stream. Y'all know I drafted over 700 teams on Underdog this year. I have 11.1% Cam Akers. And of course, average, if you just drafted average in a 12-team league, your exposures would be, I believe it's like 8.33%. So we've been drafting Cam Akers. Not only have we drafted Cam Akers, but we've drafted him in more leagues than average. And I cannot sit here and say, oh, guys, no, this is a fluke. It's a bad game. We're doubling down. Akers is in a good spot. He just needs the workload. We can't say that. It's a bad spot. It's probably not going to be a bounce back, and we probably need to be worried. Okay, so let's go through and I believe we were all caught up on donation questions. So let's go ahead and let's check the general chat real quick. And Elliot says, start 2 at the flex. We got Judy Bateman or David Montgomery. Personally, I'm going to go Judy and David Montgomery. I think Bateman has a lot of upside, but I'd rather see it before we believe it with Bateman. We've never seen him be productive at the NFL level. And Benson coming out with a donation. Thank you, my man. Says 10-team PPR format. At quarterback, we have Lance. Love it. We have Najee Harris, Joe Mixon at running back. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Deontay Johnson. We have the elite level tight end, Mark Andrews. Double flexes of Edmonds and ETN. Should I package Andrews and a running back for an elite level wide receiver? No. In a 10-team league, I want the elite level tight end. I think you get a significant advantage over the rest of the field when we have the elite level tight end. So please, please, please keep Andrews. You're fine at receiver. I mean, you have A.J. Brown and Deontay Johnson. Deontay was the wide receiver 7 last year on a points per game basis. And Peyton says, will Gabriel Davis start to see more than 5 targets? I mean, I think he will. 5 targets is very, very few, guys. 5 targets is very few. I think Gabriel Davis sees more targets. I think the efficiency comes down, though. Jordan says, a reasonable trade I can get out of Darrell Henderson. I mean, right now, let me go ahead. Let me try to figure this out. Just pulling up Fantasy Pros ADP for you. Trying to give you some running backs that I think are going to be in that range. So right now, of course, this is ADP. Darrell Henderson is getting a massive jump up. If you're looking at running backs that I think Darrell Henderson will be ranked next to going forward, does he just swap spots with Cam Akers? I think he's going to be alongside like the Kareem Hunt, Cordell Patterson, Antonio Gibson range. But if we see him starting a couple more weeks, then all of a sudden I think you can get even more excited going forward. Okay. But let me go back, and I believe we were all caught back up on donation questions again. Let's check the general chat for a couple of these. And Sam says, trade Ezekiel Elliott for Kyle Pitts. Currently, we're starting Aaron Jones with Dobbins and Dillon on the bench. Yes, trade Ezekiel Elliott for Kyle Pitts. Don't really care what we have on the bench, who we're starting, yada, yada, yada. I think Kyle Pitts is a significantly better option. And Nick coming out says, start one, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Kareem Hunt, or Robert Woods. If Deontay Johnson's good to go, if Deontay Johnson's playing, we're going to play him. If Deontay Johnson misses, which I don't expect him to, then we'll pivot over and we'll go Brandon Cooks. With Robert Woods, let's see it first. Let's see what the exact role is in Tennessee, even if he looks like the starter right now. Okay. Now, Carl says, start Robert Tonyan or Cole Kmet. I think we go Cole Kmet. Obviously, Robert Tonyan coming back from an injury. I think you can get very excited about the upside that we have with Robert Tonyan in his overall touchdowns he may see later on in the year. But week one in particular, let's go ahead. Let's take Kmet. I don't think we have to think too much about it, regardless of what the matchup is. Now, Nevin says, for the flex spot, are we going to go Kadarius Toney, Julio Jones, or Treylon Burks? If Godwin misses, we go Julio. If Godwin, Gage, and Evans are all playing, then instead we're probably going to go ahead and take Kadarius Toney. Okay. Ryan says, should I start Juju or Adam Thielen? Not really sure. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start Adam Thielen. I mean, I think there should be a lot of points scored in both matchups. But with Juju Smith-Schuster, I would just rather see it before we believe it in terms of what is the actual target share breakdown going to be in Kansas City? How are they going to be deploying these wide receivers? Okay. So Herbert says, Allen Robinson for my Brandon Ayuk. You cannot be trading. Please, please, please. Do not be trading Ayuk for Allen Robinson right now. Maybe I'm overreacting. Yeah, I could be overreacting. I could be overreacting. So please spam the chat. Who do you prefer? Do you want Allen Robinson or Brandon Ayuk going forward? Maybe it's an overreaction. I don't know. But our next question coming out from Sam. Thank you, my man. Says, with Ertz unlikely to play, who would you roll with in a full PPR league between Everett, Gesicki, Hooper, and Noah Fant? I think you go Everett. I think it should be another very high-scoring offense here. A very high-scoring game in general, knowing that, hell, Las Vegas can be able to put up points with Devontae Adams coming over with Derek Carr there. We can say the same thing about Los Angeles. And Hooper, Noah Fant aren't in great spots. And now, Yo Boy coming out says, start Amon-Ra St. Brown or Darnell Mooney. I mean, if you're looking at my rankings right now, they're in the same exact tier. I hate to do this. It's the worst thing I could ever do. I think they're in the same tier. If the weather's bad with Darnell Mooney in that game, then maybe we go ahead and take Amon-Ra. I think it's up to you. I hate to give you that answer. Full PPR format. That is. Like if it's like a half PPR league or a non-PPR league, then we take Darnell Mooney. Now, Casey says, start Wilson or Joe Burrow. We currently have Sutton at the flex spot. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Burrow. I understand we have Sutton. I just think that you are going to have the Denver Broncos playing in a very low-scoring game against Seattle, where Seattle tries to run the ball. They try to slow down the pace of play, where it's not an environment that we really want to be messing with. And JS says flex Sanders or McCole Hardman in a 12-team PPR format. We also have Jalen Hurts. We're going to go ahead. We're going to play Miles Sanders. Obviously, it's a little concerning when he's been dealing with a hamstring injury, but it sounds like he's fully good to go. And at the same time, good matchup against Detroit. I know a lot of people are in on Detroit this year. I mean, I want to root for Detroit, obviously, after watching Hard Knocks. But at the same time, I think Detroit's bad. Luke says, for the flex in a standard league, Ayuk, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or Devonta Smith, I think we go ahead and go Ayuk, right? I think we take Ayuk over Devonta Smith. But let me see what the chat was saying in regards of Ayuk versus Allen Robinson rest of season. Looks like most people were saying Ayuk. Yeah, looks like most people were saying Ayuk. I don't know if we're overreacting, though. Kevin says, James Cook, drop or buy low. I mean, depends in the league that you're playing with, in like what options you have on the waiver wire, how shallow your actual format is. Not looking good for James Cook. Once he fumbled, he did not get another touch the rest of the way. If you're playing in a 12-team league, though, where we have like 8 bench spots where we're going to be able to hold on to him, definitely we want to see more. Now, Jax Cross says, I have Kareem Hunt and Breece Hall. I can start one and put one in the flex, but also have Tyler Lockett on the bench who had to start. I think you start both the running backs. I mean, in Seattle, it's going to be a disgusting spot where this is an offense that wants to run the ball. And obviously, they're not going to be able to. They're going to have to throw the ball in the second half, but we just don't know if it's going to be able to be something they can do with Geno Smith. And ASAP Amanda Fest says, should I start Lance or Russell Wilson? 4-point passing touchdown league. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Lance. Obviously, it's a bad matchup, but I think he just has the rushing production to get it done. Charles says, Bateman or Darnell Mooney in the flex? And then also, what are our thoughts on Dobbins? I think we go Darnell Mooney over Bateman in the flex. I think Bateman has a high ceiling rest of season, but at the same time, I want to actually see Bateman be productive at the NFL level before we go ahead and jam him into our starting lineup. Regarding J.K. Dobbins, love the upside that we have rest of season. The issues are going to be, can we actually go through and start him early on? No. I think very similar to Bateman. I want to see him productive this year. I want to see him back from that injury before we put him in our starting lineup. Nab says, a flex spot, are we going to go Waddle or Hollywood Brown in a 10-team league? I love Waddle. I've drafted Waddle in a million leagues this offseason. But we're going Hollywood. Hollywood is set up to smash going up against the Chiefs. Not only going up against the Chiefs, but at the same time, you may not have Zach Ertz. You may not have Rondale Moore. I like it. I like it. Now, Micah says, who should I start? One flex, a full PPR. Michael Thomas, Josh Jacobs, DK Metcalf, Chase Claypool, or Cordell Patterson. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Josh Jacobs here. With Michael Thomas, I think he's probably the guy you're playing in the flex the rest of the season. And I know I'm boring when I say this. I get it. I know I'm the wet blanket. But when we haven't seen a player be productive in the NFL since 2019, and trust me, I've drafted the hell out of Michael Thomas for the upside that he has this season, but I'm still not going to be putting him in our starting lineup week 1. I'm not putting him in our lineup week 1. Now, our next question coming out from Mark says, 12-team half PPR league where we have Juju, Michael Thomas, or A.J. Dillon at the flex spot. Oh, dear God. We're literally just talking about not starting Michael Thomas. So I think maybe going half PPR. Let's go A.J. Dillon for the touchdown upside. So full PPR, I think we'd be forcing in one of these wide receivers. Maybe we're being a little bit too scared. I mean, it worked out with Akers. We didn't want to start Akers until we saw him back and actually productive from that injury. With Juju, I want to see what the target distribution is going to be in Kansas City. With Michael Thomas, I want to see him actually productive. I want to see him on the field coming back from missing the past 2 seasons. So let's go ahead. Let's take A.J. Dillon. Max says a 12-team PPR league where we start 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. At quarterback, we have Lamar. At running back, we have Eckler, Saquon Barkley, Javonte Williams. Wide receiver, Godwin, Ayuk. Tight end, we have Waller. I like the team. If we could go through, if we could trade in a league this shallow where we only have 1 flex spot, If we could trade like Alan Lazard and Rashad Penny, assuming that Rashad Penny starts off hot after a pretty nice stretch with no Kenneth Walker, I would love to package those two players together to get a better long-term upgrade at the running back position. Now, Frank says, should I be worried about starting Allen Robinson now? You cannot start Allen Robinson until we actually see him out there producing. You cannot start Allen Robinson until we see a week where he has more than 2 targets. Very similar to these other guys. Like maybe he has upside. He can turn it around later on in the year. But no. Not only should you be worried, I think you shouldn't even think about it. Okay, but we're all caught back up on donation questions, so let's go back to the general chat where we have Matt says Keenan Allen or Hollywood Brown. I do have Keenan Allen ranked ahead of Hollywood as of now, but if both Rondale Moore and Zach Ertz were to miss in a half PPR format in what is probably going to be the highest scoring game of the week, I think instead we probably go ahead and I think we play Hollywood. Obviously, it's a tough spot, though. And Ray Gunn coming out, longtime member of the flock, says, in a 12-team full PPR league, should I trade away Hawk and Dobbins for Pitts and Palmer? My wide receivers are T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Adam Thielen, Dobbins, and Claypool. I love Dobbins, and I'm still making this deal. I don't think Joshua Palmer does anything for you here, but just being able to go out there, being able to bring in Kyle Pitts, the truly elite level tight end, I think you should be excited about it, and we should probably make it. Okay. Now, Cosmic Water says, quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson. Wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, Gabriel Davis. Running backs, Travis Etienne, Chase Edmonds. Tight end, we have Travis Kelce. The flex is Andrews. Okay, so obviously we know we're going to do it. Bench, Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney, Christian Kirk. Who to trade for a solid running back one? On a team where we have Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, who are we trading for running back one? Probably one of these tight ends, my friend. I mean, I think if we have Lamar Jackson, the guy that we want to keep is Mark Andrews. We want to just get that correlation in this lineup. If we could go ahead, if we could try to trade Travis Kelce and bring in a running back that was in the top 2 of our tiers this year, I think that would be intriguing. Obviously, I'm sure that you already know that. Great team, though. Now, Zoomin says, in a 10-team league, are we going to trade Dalvin Cook and Darren Waller for Devontae Adams and Deontay Johnson? Have Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Cordell Patterson, J.D. McKissick on the bench. If we have Helen and Higgins, no, I'm not doing this. I'd rather have Dalvin Cook and Darren Waller easily, to be honest. I don't necessarily know why we need to go ahead and trade for all these wide receivers when we already have Keenan Allen and T. Higgins. You're fine, my man. You're fine. Okay. But Ruben says, Colts or the Denver Broncos DST, which should I be starting week 1? We're going ahead. I mean, I think both are great matchups. Right now, the largest spread of the week, last I checked, was the Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans game. I think we go the Texans. The matchup with the Texans. I think we start the Indianapolis Colts defense, because with Seattle, I could see them getting smoked and still trying to run the ball in the second half and really not giving up, trying to establish the run, not allowing our defense to generate sacks, to generate turnovers. Whereas I think Houston's going to be smart enough when they're down by multiple touchdowns against the Indianapolis Colts in the second half, where they try to throw the ball with Davis Mills, where we can generate sacks and turnovers. Joey says, started a puppy last night. CMC, Andrews, Debo, Juju. Very surprising that you got Debo in the third. I will say, I actually did start a puppy earlier today with a very, very similar build. It was like Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, but then we had Mark Andrews falling to us in the 3rd round. So we got Andrews on a build like that as well, but we had Andrews in the 3rd. And Emmanuel says, should I scramble to replace Akers or wait it out week 2? You keep Akers on your bench, but please, for the love of God, do not do not have him in your starting lineup. Like, we didn't have him we are recommending not to put him in your starting lineup. I mean, already, but definitely. We didn't have him ranked as a top 30 running back this week, which looks like the right call. Don't even be putting him in your flex. Now, Alexi says, super flex spot. Are we going to go ahead and take Hollywood Brown or Jared Goff? Don't know why I said it like that. It's getting late here. I think we go ahead and we play Jared Goff. I mean, in super flex. I think Jared Goff outscores Hollywood, even if Hollywood's in a great spot. Okay. Now, Jimmy says, Mahomes, Najee Harris, Elijah Mitchell, Devontae Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Dalton Schultz, Allen Lazard, or Cordell Patterson. Any holes to fill? I'm not a massive Lazard guy. Like, I would be excited to go through and try to trade Allen Lazard if we could get the opportunity to. Obviously, it's just going to come down to what's the price point. I think some people are now a little bit more worried about Allen Lazard, not necessarily just banking on him being the guaranteed wide receiver one in Green Bay, which he probably is. But I think that it is a possibility at the same time that you maybe have Romeo Doubs. You maybe have Christian Watson. You maybe have Sammy Watkins end up being the wide receiver one here. So I would love to try to sell Allen Lazard. Like, if we could package him with Cordell Patterson to get a wide receiver at the flex spot we're excited about every week, I would be excited about that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's find our next question. Now, 172 Gates says, Juju Smith-Schuster or Marvin Jones for week one. We're going Juju, my man. We're going Juju, obviously. Much better receiver, much better offense, much better matchup. But real quick, if you have not done so already, guys, we stream every single night. Every single night. We stream like every single night for the past 100. We just got done with a 24-hour live stream. You can probably hear it in our voice. And we're going to stream every single night for the next 200 answering your fantasy football questions. So if you want to be able to come out to these live streams, make sure you go down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button as well. So you can come out here and you can actually get notified when we go live and you can get your questions in. But now Jared says in a 16-team PPR league, quarterback, we got Dak. Running backs, we have CMC, David Montgomery. Wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks. Tight end is Irv Smith Jr. Down there on the bench, we're rocking with Ramondre Stevenson, Sky Moore, Drake London. Should I look to make a deal? I don't necessarily think so. We have the elite running back one with Stevenson. This is a very strong league for a 16-team format. If this was like a 10-team league, then sure, maybe we go through. Maybe we recommend that you try to package together one of the bench wide receivers, get an upgrade, blah, blah, blah. But no, in a 16-team league, we can't be trading away that depth. So I think you're in a very good spot. And I think we just ride it out. You have the elite level quarterback. You have a respectable tight end. We have a stack built into this team. I really like it. Now, our next question coming out from Joe Gonk. I think that's how you say it. Obviously, I'm stupid. I can't read. But running backs are Javonte Williams, Dalvin Cook. Wide receivers are Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton. Questionable flex, David Montgomery, Rashad Penny, or Elijah Moore. Personally, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take David Montgomery. I know everybody loves the matchup with Elijah Moore, but at the same time, I think this is just going to be a horrendous offense for the New York Jets. Where I would much prefer just getting the guaranteed touches with Monty. Now, our next question coming out from Toxic Lore, a longtime member of the flock, says, rate my team, 10-team PPR format. Quarterback, Lamar. Running back, we have CMC, Saquon, Kelsey. Okay, how do y'all do this? What leagues let you get Kelsey, CMC, and Barkley all in the same roster? Absolutely ridiculous. I love this team here. You have the stack with Lamar and Bateman. Maybe we look to sell high on Gabriel Davis. I'm going to think about it a little bit more. We're going to have definitely a sell high video next week after the games on Sunday. Maybe we look to sell high on Davis. It's obviously so hard to say that, though, with the upside he has in this offense. And Shrek and Fiona coming out says, I dropped Darrell Henderson and picked up Rachaad White. What are your thoughts? I really don't like it. I don't know if you did this before the game. I'm assuming you did it before the game. But if we can go back, if we can switch that around and get Darrell Henderson. Clearly, Darrell Henderson looks like he's the starting running back for the Los Angeles Rams. Not something I was expecting going into the year. And we have to go ahead and we have to take him at this point. Now, Joe says, what up, stud? Thank you, of course, for being a long-time member of the vlog, my man. Michael Thomas or Kadarius Toney while DeAndre Hopkins is out. I think we're going to roll with Michael Thomas. Kadarius Toney definitely has a high ceiling based on the yards per route run we saw last year with a limited sample. But, I mean, Michael Thomas. Let's go ahead. Let's play him. Even though I'm worried in general. I mean, we haven't seen him since 2019. Now, 172 Gates says Albert O, Noah Fant, or David Njoku for tight end 2. I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll with Albert O. He's going to be playing the best offense. And at the same time, Greg Dulcich hitting the IR is going to be just clearing out this team. I mean, you have Tim Patrick as well hitting the IR, of course. So I think there are going to be more targets than we initially thought available at the beginning portion of the year. Now we have Futuristic Old School says, trade Antonio Gibson for Terry McLaurin in a 12-team standard league. Our running backs are CMC, DeAndre Swift, A.J. Dillon, Darrell Henderson. Our wide receivers are Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins. Full PPR, yes. Full PPR, yes, because I don't know what to expect with Antonio Gibson. Like, Brian Robinson was announced as the starting running back here before he got shot. But at the same time, Gibson does have a... I think we go ahead. I think we make the deal. I think we trade Antonio Gibson. The possible starting running back here on the Washington Commanders for the guaranteed starting, wide receiver 1 for this offense. Now, our next question coming out from Shrek and Fiona again, I believe. Yeah, okay, so please, Shrek and Fiona, first off, love the name. We just did answer your question about 5 minutes ago. So if you donate and I don't get to your question right away, please, please, please do not feel the need to redonate. I promise you I'm going to get to every single donation question. Maybe it takes me a couple minutes, but I will get there. So I will answer this again, but drop Darrell Henderson and picked up Rachaad White. What are your thoughts? I don't like it. I definitely prefer Darrell Henderson going forward. Now that we know he's the starting running back in Los Angeles, which I didn't know going into the week. I mean, I didn't know that 5 hours ago. If we could go back and change that, we definitely do. Okay. Now, I believe we're all caught up on donation questions, so let's go back to the live chat real quick, where Drew says, receive Michael Thomas and Trey McBride plus a 2023 first. If you're saying we're going to trade away a 2023 first and trade McBride for Michael Thomas, don't do it. Right now is the worst time to be trading away your 2023 first. Now, Joel says, I traded Aaron Jones for Dameon Pierce and Hollywood Brown. Good or bad? I do not like it. I mean, especially at this time of the year, I think that we need to be going through in every move that we need to make. Just get the best player in the deal. There are going to be so many players we're going to pick up off the waiver wire at the beginning portion of the season that if we're going through and trading one guy for 2, all of a sudden, we're going to then have a harder time to make moves at the beginning portion of the season on the waiver wire. It's going to be very hard to cut players at the very bottom of our rosters. Dalton says, why did I draft Justin Jefferson over Cooper Kupp? Hey, y'all know we had Kupp wide receiver 1. Obviously, Jefferson's going to come out here and crush. We had Justin Jefferson as our wide receiver 1 for about 2 weeks right after the Matthew Stafford elbow injury. But then once things settled down, once we had more reports on it and we realized, okay, this isn't something that we really need to be that worried about, we did move Cooper Kupp back to wide receiver 1. And Micah coming out says, in a 10-team full PPR league, we got Josh Allen at quarterback. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. Wide receiver, we have Kupp, Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper. Tight end, we have Goddard. Flex, Jacobs. Bench, Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf, Cordell Patterson, Claypool, Zay Jones. Couple different things here in a 10-team full PPR format. Love having the elite level QB. Love having the running back with upside in Barkley. But I think we can do better on the bench. Regarding Zay Jones, what has to happen? Realistically speaking, what has to happen for him to be a player that we can start every single week? If Zay Jones comes out, if he is a top 12 wide receiver this week, do you put him in your lineup week 2? No. If he does it again, Are you then playing him over Cup? No. I mean, Christian Kirk? Nope. Maybe. I don't know. I would much prefer picking up like a rookie that has a very high ceiling. Someone like a Christian Watson, where yeah, maybe he's a bum, but at the same time, that guy at the very end of our roster, we're just going through and we're looking for the highest ceiling possible. Highest ceiling possible. Someone that we're fine cutting if it doesn't work out. Okay. Now we have Steven says PPR Henderson or Allen Robinson in the flex. Oh, we're definitely going Darrell Henderson over Allen Robinson in the flex. Assuming that Darrell Henderson is the starting running back for the Los Angeles Rams going forward, I think we play Henderson. Now, Pitt Prime says, what should I do about Dawson Knox? Same thing you should have done going into the season. I think we go ahead, and I think that we sell. He's a tight end that last year did not change anything in terms of his yards per route run, in terms of his target share in Buffalo. The only thing that changed here with Dawson Knox was the touchdown rate. I don't want to say he got lucky, but the touchdown spiked for Knox, something that we don't know if is going to continue to happen going forward. I think it's very easy to go ahead and package him with the wide receiver, get an upgrade at the tight end position. He had like 2 targets today. I'm not a big Dawson Knox guy. Okay, so let's go ahead and I believe we're all cut back up on donation questions. Let's answer a couple more of these. Young Krilo says flex Bateman or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I hate to give you this answer. I think that's going to be up to you. Joe says, what do I do with Akers as my running back 2 and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out? I think CEH is... I don't necessarily... I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. Is CEH out? Yeah. I don't see anything with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, you're clearly playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Cam Akers going forward. You can't sell Cam Akers. Nobody would give you a nickel for him. Can't cut him. I mean, maybe he's just a primary handcuff running back at this point, similar like Alexander Madison if Darrell Henderson goes down. I don't know. I think you're just kind of sitting still at this point. But guys, it is 1 a.m. right now. My voice is gone still from that 24-hour live stream. I am going to go ahead and continue to stream for y'all every single night. So please make sure you go down there, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. If you want to go check out our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, look at those player props. You can find the link in the live chat. You can find it in the description of the video. Go sign up for Underdog. Use promo code FLOCK. They'll match first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. I'll get our 2022 fantasy football rankings. We'll get our 2022 fantasy football draft guide to help you out, obviously, if you've already had your draft. And you can check out all those player props. Joseph says, start Sanders or Gibson. Gibson, opinion on both long and short. Gibson, I have no idea. Long-term outlook. We're going to have to wait and see. Sanders, I mean, he's running behind an elite offensive line. The issue he's going to be in a committee. Now, thank you again. I truly appreciate all of you. I'll be live again tomorrow night. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Hope you have a great night and hope I get to see you tomorrow.